got my fucking secretary, and not my secretary, my treasurer.
Eat a dick!
We've stolen you and treasurer. As I welcome you all back to Twisted Fates, as we deal with society stuff in the background, and Matthew is once again disappointed.
He's always disappointed.
I know.
It's my secret cap. I'm always disappointed.
As not much of a recap coming from last episode, as we gotta jump straight into combat, or the second half of a rather large combat, as the four of you kind of split up at the kind of beginning half of last section to go and gather some allied forces for the upcoming battle, where whilst you were divided, Markusar and Wolfric in the hunting grounds with some of the Orcish hunters, and Ranaagash and Eidolon up by the ritual grounds with Dalarash, the camp was attacked, where you started to fight swarms of blighted creatures, and I regretted many life decisions as there was too many numbers for me to handle. Not doing that again. Well, after this session, not doing that again. As yes, the four of you are going to be jumping straight back into combat this session, with the first half of this session hopefully being the end of, or the end of the second half of this combat, with none of you dying. I don't actually know what you're all on HP wise, so we'll see how that goes.
I'm still pretty good.
And then we get to deal with the aftermath coming to the second half of this session, if you are all alive by the end of it. Don't worry, I do have plans if you are not. But
if we bite the dust,
so to speak.
Another one.
However, I now have a much more streamlined initiative because I don't have as many things to do. There are still like 20 things on here, hence why I'm never doing combat like this again. I regret life decisions, but hopefully I won't forget anyone this time.
I cannot remember. I didn't use my channel divinity, right? I still have my channel divinity.
You did not use it.
Not words. You did not use it last time.
Let's go. It means it's still useful.
As jumping back into combat, jumping back into where we left off last time, Eidolon, you are standing top of initiative, on top of a dragon, as the battlefield has got a little bit more messy. You are currently fighting this thing with Bartak, having been subjected to a sunburst, and the enemies that you had left behind in the ritual grounds, as well as some very distant from the hunting grounds, have now come onto the battlefield, as well as another Northul and a figure that has come off, which is out of the sight of all of you, as he is on the other side of camp. So you're not too sure who that may be, but there is now another player on this field as well, though at the moment you are dealing with the dragon with Bartak.
Oh. So it's my turn?
It is your turn.
Cool, so firstly, I'm going to make some calls to the rest of the boys on the field, since I can speak telepathically. So my visage is up. So firstly, I'll make a call to Markusar and Ranaagash, if they'll pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Because I've got
I'm in the shower right now, I can't answer.
Of course, Markusar would do that.
You're the one standing outside the chieftain's tent. You could be using his shower. You're getting bathed.
You assume Bartak has a shower.
I assume. He seems cleanly. I'm on top of the dragon, so I'm assuming I can see these swarms have arrived.
Yes, they're coming obviously from where you were, and you can more see the tops of the ones behind the wooden palisades going towards the hunting grounds.
Yeah, I'd shout towards Markusar and Ranaagash in their minds as to not alert anybody else currently. The swarms from the other areas have arrived. Is it possible for you guys to deal with that?
And we can respond?
Sadly not. It's more just the...
Let's get my... Sure.
It's more to give you guys the knowledge, because I see you're in front of the tent, Paul, that the swarms are behind you. And then I'll call to Wolfric. Me and Bartak have this one. Think you can start on the other one? As
well,
with that...
can't respond, so...
I know. It's more just the questions, more leaving it as rhetorical, so it's like, you don't have to do that, it's more just...
Question.
Yes? As how's the one underneath me looking?
It's not looking great.
Cool. In that case, 2 longsword attacks. Let's see if we can't just Well, get it down. It's the first intention. As I have a blade, I'm standing on top of a dragon. I'm just listening to Shadow of the Colossus music on loop. Does a 13 hit? I assume not.
No.
I'm probably losing balance for a sec, trying to stab in, but more just clinking off whatever, armored scales and such like that. That's actually kind of impressive.
Yeah.
I gotta give myself credit. Does a 19 hit though?
Yes.
Cool. I'll burn 3 key points.
Oof, that's a lot of key points.
Aye, but it makes sure I hit.
That's true.
As this is an auto crit, because this thing's a fucking dragon.
It is a dragon. Well done. Perceptive.
So it takes 24 points of damage. Really rolling quite low this morning.
This morning?
This morning?
It's the start of the session.
Even in session, it's kind of
As
afternoon
I'm
at this
assuming
point.
it's still alive.
It is, yes.
Stabbing in, I like to imagine I made at least a slight gap in it. Am I able to see its heart if it's already injured?
No, you've been taking it from the back, so...
Nope.
Ewan! Hush! I was expecting that from Paul, not you!
Put that as
Use
a
my
good
movement in that case to move forward.
Quote that in the Discord.
I'm not gonna do it. I have dignity.
Ewan's on it, it's cool.
I was
Yeah.
expecting that from Paul, not you, Ewan. I expected more from you.
Don't expect more from me on fucking anything.
I'd like to move my way to the front of the dragon instead,
Yes.
please. As am I able to see it from there instead, or is this bit kind of undamaged?
This bit's undamaged.
As instead, in that case, instead of going for the heart, I'll just run up to the front, so I'm essentially walking on the dragon's neck. Put a head down, so I'm essentially clasping it by almost like the top half of its mouth, and then just punch in where the nose would be. Say would be.
A very
Probably doesn't
ferocious
have
swoop
one.
to the snoot.
I'll maybe disorientate it if I can. That is really, actually impressive that I've just rolled 3 4s on attack rolls.
Matthew's doing the math, I can see it in his head.
Now you see, she's a real beaut, so I gotta
That's a
get
1 in 8.
real up and close.
That's a 1 in 8,000.
Hey, just like
Yeah.
rolling 3 nat 20s.
Yeah, that checks out.
Shut up.
Yeah, as that won't hit it.
As yeah, more just try to collide in, but I mean these things are fucking resilient, it probably doesn't just do anything.
It doesn't
As I'll
do
just end my turn at the front of the Durgan.
Durgan. That's a good start. That's a less good start. As these guys will take some damage, and they might actually die. Oh no, they're good. Just 10 damage. As several of the knights, these kind of blighted, armoured creatures, looking like watchmen and iron dragons, still try to take out some of the allied orcs that are still on the field, with some luck, as they're looking very injured. As Grey moves through the battlefield, trying to avoid as many of the enemies as possible, because she's not looking great either. As Ran.
Okay, just to refresh myself, the purple one I'm standing next to is one of the elders, right?
It is a acolyte of the elders.
Yeah, and then the purple ones are...
Dalarash and
Right.
Shotha.
Alright, okay. Right, I just had it the wrong way around, that's fine, I just wanted to make sure.
I will let you know Dalarash isn't looking great. She is very close to death. Shotha is looking not too bad. She's injured, but not in jeopardy at the moment.
Okay. Fortunately, I cannot help with that.
No, because you're not a healer,
But-
you're a wizard.
But I can in fact kill things. And given that I have been tasked with clearing out the stragglers, that's the word, I shall cast Scorching Ray at 4th. Actually, they're like that. Fuck, I should have checked this. Scorching Ray is a 20 feet like that. Minute Meteors is 6. You know what? Let's go with the Meteors because that's fun. So I shall instead cast Minute Meteors at 4th and give myself 6, 8 meteors.
All the meteors.
Start checking that. Let me just write this down. 8. So, when you cast a spell, you can spend 1 or 2. So I can spend 2 as a bonus action and 2 as an action. So, the for the action it takes to cast the spell, I will chuck them at these two here.
Cool.
If I can, please.
Yep.
So can I get dex saves?
2 of the
Yes.
smaller groups. Nat 1 and 9.
Okay, they both fail, so
1 double fails.
yes. 6. Yeah, it just creates more. So that's 9 damage to one and 18 to the other.
Cool. They are both looking
Okay.
pretty good.
Okay, well with the second meteor, I'm just going to do the same thing again. So more dex saves.
9 and non-nat 20.
Right, 9 fails, not 20 non-nat 20 passes. So they will take another 2d6. How are they looking?
Pretty
So it'll
good.
be 5 and 2. Alright, so with my bonus action, I will now fling 2 more meteors at them and just do the same thing again until they die.
Nat 1 and 17.
Nat 1 fails, 17 passes, yes. So another 2d6. That's 2 for one, 10 for the other. How are they looking?
Pretty good.
Can I get 2 more dex please?
13 and non-nat 20.
Okay, 13 fails, none that 20 passes. 2d6, so that's 3 and 1. Which is pitiful, and I've used half of my meteors so far. And I'm concentrating, that's both my action, my bonus action, movement. I will put a bit of distance between them and myself. I'll sort of edge down to here.
Moving
And-
out of the way.
Yeah. And action bonus. Yeah. Okay, that's me.
Yeah, the ones that you did attack, they were
Yeah, they were untouched, weren't they?
yeah, they were untouched.
Yeah. One
They
of
have now
these
been
bad
touched,
boys.
however.
They have. They have been touched by fire
So that's like something.
several times.
As a group of the orcs, the orcish hunters who are in the hunting grounds, kind of move closer into the centre of camp, obviously going to try and help some of their own allies. As Markusar,
Yes.
what are you going to do?
Again, a refresher of what was I facing previously at the hunting grounds that I can see coming behind me from behind
So
the chieftain's tent.
you have one of the larger groups of the kind of more armoured knightish blights, so like the kind of conjoined watchmen and iron dragons, the more like skilled combatants, the more armoured ones. However, you also have a group of the more peasanted blights, so like the common folk, who have been infected with the blighted scourge, that had just arrived onto the hunting grounds when you and Wulfric retreated with the hunters. There is a good chance that those ones are untouched, whereas the knights, the kind of more armoured ones, will have a little bit of damage already taken to them. They look a little bit more weary, they look a little bit more rough, as both you, Wulfric, and the hunters did quite a fair chunk of damage to some of them before you guys came to the main encampment.
In which case, I would like to draw upon my powers and create a flaming sphere over the more armoured group of assailants. And I forget what that fucking does.
Dex save, I want to say.
It's a dex save against. It's a dex save, and then when I move it, it's a dex save against the damage.
Yeah, but just using your spell save DC because it's easier.
Okay, if you wish.
Or would you like to use damage because you feel like you're breaking the rules, Paul?
Oh no, I don't like getting special treatment when I don't know D&D well enough.
I mean,
Let him
it's
use
not.
the damage, Em.
It's not special treatment I do with everyone.
Okay, fair enough. Is that,
Special treatment for M.
It's
DM's
literally
rules.
it's special treatment for me. It makes it easier on me.
That is fair.
Oh.
Okay, so if they can make me a dex saving throw.
This is Em treating herself.
I get to do it every now and then. As that is a 14.
Ooh, that's a fail.
Cool. Give me some
So
fire
they
damage.
Cool, I'm upcasting this at 4th level.
Oh, he wants them dead.
Yes, so they can make me take how much damage? Ah, that's so like average.
I mean, at least it's average.
The 2
Yes.
pulls it down. That's the only
Bonus action. And my bonus action, I would like to move that sphere over to the peasants to the right.
Gonna ram them.
Yes.
Gonna ram those peasants.
All right. Just
Right.
there was a ram joke about you. Doesn't mean we have to make one about everyone.
I'm just taking revenge. That's all I
Craig
need
takes
to
it
do.
from the back. That's what I heard.
Ram Ranch.
What?
6. Before it gets any more
Oh.
sexual.
That's a fail as well. So just another 46, I suppose. That's exactly the same.
What is it with you guys and rolling the same numbers tonight?
Yeah, it's crazy.
You were doing the same too. You rolled 2 9s in
I
a row.
mean, yes, that is true. I am very, rarely rolling unique numbers tonight. Or high numbers for that matter, which is very unfair.
Guess I'll probably stay where I am. I don't think there's any more advantageous position for me.
Not really, because if you move further down to get away from them, you're moving closer to other enemies, and if you move anywhere nearer to them, you're just putting yourself in the firing line anyway.
Exactly. So I shall stay where I am by the chieftain's tent.
As moving on to some NPCs, these guys are going to move and make an attack. They get what? 2 attacks. They're very helpful. Or at least, I think they're very helpful. That would be what? 17 times 2 is 34, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that is pretty good damage. Is at least for you, Markusar, you'll be able to see a group of orcs almost coming around the corner. These more muscular ones that you met in the woodland. They kind of come down and start wailing upon this group of blighted creatures in an attempt to help their allies. Wolfric, how injured are you looking?
Medium.
Medium. Medium
You wanted
injured.
an answer.
That is true. So d8s. 1, 8, 15, 21. You get 25 health back.
Go.
As one of the young acolytes, I say young, she's one of the older ones that Ranaagash remembers, but she kind of sees that you are injured, sees that you're a lot more useful in a fight than she is, so it's probably better that she helps you. She gives you some vigour back as she casts the Cure Wounds on you. As the orcs are attempting to attack, only one of their attacks hit, but it's still some damage. Is that... as the group of kind of more peasanted blights that the orcs are fighting at the moment seem to be taking quite a lot of damage. As I now have to look at fucking spell lists again. I love casters, but as a GM I hate casters. So she's not got that.
Playing a caster is bad enough. Playing a caster alongside playing literally everything else, I legit can't imagine that.
I like playing them when it's me playing them, but it's when it's like a GM, there's just too much to manage with them, which is always the shame. Radius 40 foot. Circle. It's not big enough. Although it is a lot of damage, so I will do that. Nah, I won't, because I want to keep some of her higher spell slots for later. Obviously she's not going to cast it in Wolfric's radius because that would be stupid. 12 and 15, which are both fails. So I need some d8s and d6. As Dalarash, still keeping quite far back on the battlefield, conjures some more magic from her hands, though this time it doesn't burst into flame. Instead it starts to crackle and turn cold. Seemingly being able to control some of the weather above the forest, the purple hue in the sky seems to disappear as amongst some of the more, I guess, injured blights that Ranaagash was targeting with his meteors, a snowstorm appears as she casts Ice Storm. So it's 3,
Oh, that's
6,
not a bad one.
10, 16, 18, 24. As there is now a ice storm centered above the top 2 blighted creatures, as she is not stupid and she is also doing like Ranaagash does and fuck off.
The casters know what's up.
Well, yes, she's also on like 20 health, so she's wise to fuck off.
Yes.
As I have one group of enemies.
I like that as it gets darker, my light gets comparatively brighter, so it was kind of a mild brightness in the background before, but now it looks like the actual stairway to heaven is
It really
just
does.
off screen.
I mean, now that it's your turn, let's hope it's not an actual stairway to heaven for Wolfric.
Alright. How close am I to the other one? Not the one that Eidolon's got, but the other one.
60... 90 feet. As about each square is about 15 feet.
How close am I to this one? The top one?
The purple ones are your allies. They are Dalarash and Shotha. So you're wanting to hit, at least in terms of the map for my boys, you're wanting to go after the yellow ones, the orange ones, the black ones, and obviously the red ones. Or red one, singular. The top two yellow ones that are just above you, Ewan, they are currently trapped within Dalarash's snowstorm, or ice storm, and obviously the other Northul is around the battlefield, about 90 feet away.
Okay, so I'm gonna start heading. So each is 15, so I can get that far.
On 30 feet, yeah.
Okay. Let me just remind myself, but the magic item was only healing spells, right?
Yes.
That became a bonus action. Or could I cast any spell through it, but only action healing spells became a bonus action?
No, so you can only channel, so whilst you've got your spirit doggo up, you can only channel healing spells through it, but obviously all the healing spells you have, including your lay on hands, become a bonus action whilst the dog's there.
Okay.
It'd still be worth having it up though, because it's immune to damage.
Okay. So get the dog up.
What's the dog doing?
Does it instantly appear beside me, or can I make it appear anywhere?
Within 30 feet of you.
Okay, so
that's
can I
kind
make
of its distance.
Can I make it appear like here?
I will give doggo here. There you go. You now have a blue doggo.
And
a
then
blue doggo or a purple doggo?
you mentioned that it can operate up to 60 feet. Does it have like a walking speed, or is it just a speed? So in theory it can move on any axis.
It can move on any axis as long as it's within 60 feet from you.
Okay. I'm gonna try and keep it within 60 feet, but I'm gonna have it stick close enough to Eidolon that if need be it can dart to him and heal him.
Oh, I could try jump off so I'm within range of it, but it's still within range of you.
No, literally what oh yeah, you can try that later, but like for now just have it there, have it out. I've moved. What I'm gonna do is that's my action, so I'm gonna end my turn there. I'm trying to do some strategic battleground placement.
I mean, keep it up, that's a good start.
We go from strategy to Bartak, who is not very strategic at all.
Who's Unga Bunga.
I mean, he is a barb. Nothing else fit. He is the truest barb. Hey Craig, technically you can't get on at me anymore. I played a barbarian now.
You're welcome.
He hit the funny Unga Bunga.
Barbarians are so fun.
24, 27, 22, so yes.
See?
That's my boy.
that's my son.
I raised that boy.
Are you older, Ranaagash, or is he older?
Bartak's older.
Damn it.
10, 23.
Bro.
He could have still raised that boy.
He could have, you're right.
27. I'm going to take note because his damage is now getting silly. 10, 16, 20, 47. 10, 15, 21, which is 68. Plus 3, 6, 9, which is 77. Plus 4, 8, 12, which is 89. And I think that's all of his damage added on. Yes, that is all of his damage added on. Where is the Northul that you were attacking? There it is. Yeah, that's very dead now.
Isn't the one on top that I'm on top of?
Yep.
Well,
Eidolon,
the problem is it's not.
Well, yeah, I know. Can you give me a dexterity saving throw?
Yes, I can do.
Or, actually, no, give me acrobatics. Because that would make more sense in this moment
It's
in
actually
time.
the same roll. That's a nat 20.
Cool.
That's a
Spicy.
waste.
That is
No, it's not.
I mean, it's a cool landing. As well, obviously, Eidolon, you know this thing isn't dead, and considering the Northole is here and being able to admit the blight, it will likely rise quite quickly. You don't want that to happen, but you kind of, I guess, tumble and roll off of its body as it kind of crashes to the ground.
Since I've got a nat 20, can I direct where I go?
Yes.
If it's falling to the ground, I'd just like to use the momentum to essentially just move slightly to sling myself along, so I essentially slide down its back, so I land next to Bartak.
Mhm.
Do I have the time to say something to him on his turn if I've slid down next to him?
Go for it.
I just turn and just say, "It's not dead."
That's your problem.
Just thought you should be aware if I don't get to it soon enough.
Is
It's got fucking cold.
well, Eidolon did make it very clear that this was something that Eidolon knew how to deal with.
Well, yes, but it's also his encampment to protect.
She's gonna move, and I have to do some enemy rolls. Most of them will be moving, because I don't have to worry about those. So that's fine, they're moving. Don't have to worry about them. Sorry, Markusar.
I'm used to it at this point.
I still feel like I need to apologise. A 23 and an 18.
Yeah, they hit.
So you take 10 damage from the first attack.
Yep.
And then 8 damage from the second attack, which is poison damage, which I don't think you resist, but that's okay. But on the second attack, your maximum hit points are also reduced by 8.
Cool. So, that is...
These guys are also going to move around to obviously get back into the battle. And then I've got some more rolling to do. Sorry again, Markusar.
Oh. Go on.
Why are you bullying Paul today?
Because he didn't move, but he didn't really have a choice not to move. There wasn't really much he could do. Actually, oh no, they wouldn't hit Markusar.
Oof.
Don't be saying that, Paul. You have a 17 pass perception. You ain't going to be liking what you're hearing.
Oh.
As Paul, you know that some of the enemies are obviously coming from the hunting grounds and coming towards the camp. One of the groups of enemies kind of comes round the side of the tent and obviously starts hitting you as you're in front of the tent. The other group seemingly seems to disappear though, perhaps making a more direct route to you as the noise kind of goes eerily quiet for you as you're waiting for them to burst through the tent and obviously attack you, and they don't. Instead, you hear screaming from inside the tent.
Oh no. Oh no.
There's families in there.
Oh jeez. Ugh. Great. Well.
As I'm gonna roll a d6.
Oh,
I don't know
no.
how many of us would actually hear that scream, or is it just Markusar?
It's just Markusar, because the closest one there would then be Wolfric, but Wolfric's passive perception is not high enough with everything else that's going on. So it is just Markusar. And I need to double check Ice Storm to see what the continuous damage is for someone moving in the difficult terrain, if any. I've never actually used Ice Storm before. I've not really made a cold caster.
That's kind of the problem. Most cold spells aren't worth building a character around.
They, like, pale in comparison to the number of fire spells.
Yeah.
Like, you push for Kona Cold, but after that you've got nothing to look forward to.
Where's that list I made?
Well, it's like, so I'm literally looking at the spell now because obviously it's an ice storm. There are currently hailstones in that area. You would think it would do continuous damage, or at least damage on each turn. But no.
It just makes it difficult terrain and they take damage once, correct?
Yep.
That's...
Each creature in the cylinder must make a dexterity saving throw. A creature takes 2d8 and 4d6 on a failed, and half as much on a success. It then becomes difficult terrain until the end of the caster's next turn.
Not even that long.
Nope. It's an instantaneous cast, which kind of sucks, but hey ho. As they take no damage, but it is difficult terrain, so they can't move very far. They're staying there to protect their sister. Everyone else is gone. They're moving up. I need this one. 3. 1, 2, 3. 46. 1, 2, 3, 4. 10, 12, 22, 27. As you lose one of your groups of allies.
Oh shit.
Though.
Oh dear.
Because of obstruction, either through already in combat, like yourself, Markusar, or because you don't have a clean line of sight, as there is a group of, or a collection of trees in the middle of the encampment, you're not too sure what did it to take down this group of orcs. As they'll all stay, I've attacked with all of them, apart from this group, but these guys will move around because people have died and they can no longer attack.
Getting pinched here, guys.
You will start getting pinched in a little bit, Markusar, because you're kind of like alive and there. As Eidolon.
Hello. Oh, it's my turn before the dragon.
Well, one of the dragons, I need to wait till it's back at its turn, and the other dragon is a bit far away from the action right now.
I'm fully well aware, so this one's currently dead on the ground.
Yes.
Well, for now. So I'm not able to see its heart at current time.
No.
I guess, can I use one of my attacks just to take my sword and just carve into its skin to try and make an indent into where it would be?
Yes.
Is that an attack?
Yes, but you'd obviously have advantage because it's considered to be prone and unconscious.
KH1 plus 9. That's a non-nat 20.
Roll me some damage, obviously crit because of your blade.
Oh, I need to roll damage against the dead thing. That's 30 damage.
Well, it's to see if you can actually carve into it properly and actually cut away what you need to cut away to reveal its core.
Can I?
With that, you are able to reveal its heart.
Is anybody nearby except Bartak?
You've got Bartak, and technically a group of allied orcs would be in the blast radius.
And they can't get back on my turret, can they?
What do you mean?
Like, if I tell them to get back before I do it, they can't exactly do it, can they?
No, it would be on their turn. So you've kind of got two options. You can either use the rest of your turn to obviously make the medicine check, which Eidolon is proficient in, to try and destroy it safely, or you could just use one of your attacks, or one of your flurry of blows, to obviously save on your other attacks and destroy it, but obviously the crystal will then explode and damage people within the radius.
I mean, it'll kill it either way, no matter what I do.
It will, explode. Yes. But you might obviously then kill someone else.
Yeah, but that's only if I attack.
Yes.
If I do the medicine, I at least have the chance not to kill them. As I'd look back at Bartak and these two groups and essentially say, I can kill it, but I'll put it simply, it's probably going to explode.
Bartak kind of just looks at you. Fucking kill it.
As I'd more gesture at the people behind him, do you want them dead?
They'll survive.
Eidolon opens his mouth for a second before turning around, and it is in a... I don't know what way to describe the tone, but he'd more just turn around, take the sword, ready it, grab it by the blade further down, just more he's gripping just a smaller part of it, and just say, it's your camp. As I'd walk forward, essentially into the opening I've made. As I'll attempt to deal with it.
Proficient medicines.
I can give it a shot, but... Oh, it's plus 8. That's a nat 20.
That'll do it.
I hope!
I like how whenever something happens in this combat, Matthew becomes a deer in the headlights.
What do you do?
It's your
You're
people.
killing his friends.
Yeah,
There's also that.
Your friends died off screen, Ewan. Matthews are dying on screen.
Hey, Ewan, twins.
War is hell.
As Eidolon, you are able to break into the heart, you're able to carve it open, you're able to almost crack and crush the crystal, though you are able to do so where you release a lot of the negative energy slowly rather than quickly and immediately before it explodes. You can watch as a lot of the mist escapes and starts to dissipate even in the area around you as the crystal goes from a very pulsating, almost Icarus purple colour to that nulled black colour.
As I'm not going to pay the chieftain much mind at all, as Eidolon just lost a lot of respect for him in a single instance. As do I still have my bonus action?
You would.
I've still got all my movement, so could I get over to this? Who actually looks in most trouble right now?
Markusar.
Can I get over to Markusar with 100 feet of movement?
30, 60, 90. You can get to this.
Actually, shit, that's good too, because that's exactly still in the range of Wulfric's dog.
Yes.
That's perfect. Yeah, I'll burn a key point. I've only got one left now, but should be fine, fingers crossed. As our bonus action, key point dash. Yeah, I'll make my way over to... You said here is fine?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll essentially dart between Wulfric and Ranaagash. All they'd really see is the blue of the scarf going past their faces. As I start moving towards Markusar.
To be fair, you can't say you lose a lot of respect for Bartek. He wouldn't know what would happen if you destroyed the crystal, so...
No, I told him what would happen, so therefore I have lost a lot of respect for him. I'm being flat with that.
Neither of those will hit, which is nice. She's kind of stuck, so she's going to go there and hope for the best. As Ran.
Okay. I made life very easy for myself with that. I just get to do the exact same thing I did last turn. Pretty much.
All of the tiny meteors.
First things first is by bonus action I will drop another 2 of them on the same group, and hopefully they die this time.
2 7s.
That is 2 fails. It's 6 power damage. 2 more if you please.
What are the fucking chances of that? 2 12s.
That's also 2 fails. It's 10 damage.
Nice.
And how many of those things? Okay, I should not do that.
They're still alive.
Yeah, I figured. So you know what? Let's just drop. Let's start weathering down most of them. So this one out here on the right, how are they looking? I can highlight them. I cannot. The furthest to the right yellow.
They are still also looking pretty fine.
Okay, you know what? I will change that, and I will literally just shoot a firebolt their way. So they'll really. I want to save some of the big spells. The big
Firebolt or fireball?
Firebolt with a T. This is a scourge. Lord all over again. Scourge. Right.
I just noticed for the first time how your mouth does that when you do Scourge Lord.
That's a 12 to hit.
That will miss.
Excellent. I do have to check how much damage Firebolt is doing, and that is my turn because I don't think I should need to move.
No, I think you're pretty good there.
I have 2 of them left. Excellent.
That one will hit. His damage is 18, which starts taking down them, which is also quite nice. As Markusar.
Yeah, 11. Excellent.
Yes.
It is your go.
So the 2 that are in the tent and attacking
the orange one is attacking you. I'll move him there so he's actually closer to you. The yellow one is in the tent, however.
I'm able to. I used the flaming sphere to attack them. But that was when they were outside the tent. Would I be able to move the sphere within inside the tent?
Yes.
Or would it burn the whole thing down?
But you don't know the, I guess, proximity of the civilians.
Yeah.
To the enemies. You could go in and hit your sphere against something, and feel it stop, and it not be a bad guy.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Oh, that's dangerous.
No.
So let's not do that. Maybe
let's not commit war crimes.
But that's the fun bit, Matthew. Or
not in this instance.
Not when you're on the good guy's side, only when you're on the bad guy's side. Then war crimes are okay.
For my bonus action, I would take this, move the flaming sphere from around the back of the chieftain's tent and ram it into this orange group that are directly attacking me.
Cool. That is a 9 on their save.
That's a fail.
Roll me some damage.
That was my bonus action. What do I want to do for my action?
What doesn't
I guess I
require
would like-
concentration?
Yeah, I guess I'd like to move inside the chieftain's tent and try to attack the peasants
Okay,
that are
so
attacking whatever is screaming inside the tent.
Ugh, that's a
long
bad
way round,
sentence.
you get in there. You would get an attack of opportunity against you as well, though, remember.
Oh, bugger. Okay, patch it. I'll just leave. No. I want to save Bartek's family.
It would be nice to.
Yes. I would appreciate. He would appreciate.
Shocking.
We would all
Sorry,
appreciate.
But last time I took an opportunity attack against me,
He died.
I died.
Oh, the flashbacks, they're coming back.
Oh god. Nah, I need to do something. I'll take the opportunity attack. And
Brave soul.
And yes, once inside the tent, what do I see?
Let's see if you get inside the tent.
Do I get inside?
Well, I think you've got the health to survive getting inside the tent. Is your AC's currently 10, isn't it?
No, it's 11.
Okay, so it still hits you, but not by as much.
Do we start like the funeral violins now, or like?
Am I actually about to die?
Is you take another 10 damage? No,
Oh,
I was
it's
checking
spicy.
my notes to cooperate.
Thank God.
10 damage. Sick.
As they kind of catch you on the back as you're just kind of darting and dashing into the tent. When you get in, you can see a group of the blighted creatures that are a little injured because obviously your flaming sphere hit them. You can see a few of them with burn marks on them. You can see very panicked children. So all of Bartek's daughters are still alive. Positive.
Children aren't dead.
Only 2 of his wives seem to be alive. However, there is body on the floor. I don't know if you count it as a positive or not, but it looks like his oldest wife. His 2 younger wives are still okay.
Think of the positives.
Don't.
Is there a clear exit for the family?
The way you came in, which is past the bad guys.
Okay. Could I, using my sickle in the same attack, slice open the tent in the opposite side of the tent, away from the peasants, to provide a means of escape whilst also attacking the peasant? Or is that too much?
No, you'd either have to essentially make the cut in the tent because you're using, you're using a sickle, but this is it's not like a tarp tent or like a cotton tent, this is leathers. So you're either going to have to make the attack against the tent essentially to see if you can hit its DC to cut through it, or you attack the group of blighted peasants.
I'm going to attack the tent to make a means of escape for Bartek's family.
Okay. So give me an attack roll.
So, I hope it has a low AC.
I mean, it's tarp, so fingers crossed.
That is enough. Roll me some damage.
I crit the fucking tent.
I mean, if you crit the tent, that would be nice.
6 damage on the tent.
That's pretty good. As you're able to cut away a gap, most likely one that his young children will fit through.
Yes.
Sadly, it's not big enough for his actual wives to get through.
Fuck.
So,
Saving children is a good start.
the kids can get through, the adults, not so much.
But I don't trust kids to effectively run away and to hide. They need a responsible adult to show them how to fear for their lives.
Is this Markusar talking or his dad talking?
Bit both.
Both is good.
So, how old are these kids? Could I tell?
The
Toddlers?
The oldest one he has is about 13 and 13, maybe 14 at a push. His middle child is about 10, 11 at a push, and his youngest is 3.
3, fuck. I guess I look to the oldest looking one. Do I want to just tell them to run and just keep running?
Not the worst idea, but there is still blights outside.
Yeah, and there's maybe some out with this camp who haven't arrived yet.
Always the potential.
Ah, God.
So what do you tell them, Paul?
I do tell them to leave the tent, and what's the forest like? Could they feasibly climb a tree?
I mean, these are like essentially redwood-sized oaks.
Okay, so like redwood-sized, but like does that mean like high branches, like they'd be tough to climb?
Yeah.
Especially
rough bark, high
a 13-year-old
branches.
do it, a 10 maybe, and a 3 no. No. Well, I guess I tell them to just like go outside, hide outside the tent.
You do know Eidolon
Like-
is nearby as well. You would have seen him running across the field before you obviously came in. So the kids obviously, like, they don't know him, but they know of him. So it depends whether you want to saddle Eidolon with children.
I don't want to do what be saddled with children.
It's better than them dying, I can tell you that much.
Okay.
It's up to you, though. It's up to you.
Run to the Harbinger.
Way to make it sound as awful as possible.
Give me persuasion, Paul.
Oh,
What's my
if you've
persuasion?
ruined any chance of that, I'm gonna...
Oh god, this is not gonna go well.
This is your fault.
Please. No.
We'll see if they decide to move. We'll see how that goes, Paul.
Oh, that sounds so promising.
You could have just told them to run to, like, the normal-looking human guy with the axe and the shiny wolf.
Run to the doggo.
Run to the doggo.
Run to the ghost dog.
Yeah, I guess that was the wrong thing. I thought that's what they would know him as.
Yeah, but they also know that the Harbinger is a bad thing.
Yeah,
There are
great,
other
that's true.
adjectives to describe what I look like.
I would like to retroactively say, run to the Watchman.
You assume they
think
then
they
know
know
what
what
that is.
Do they even speak common? That's a good question.
You'll find out.
No, that's a no.
This is a mess.
So hopefully they only call it run, because run's a pretty. Maybe they know what run is.
They'll also probably know
Someone's
the
a
word
pass.
harbinger.
One
What
is
kind of 13-year-old who doesn't speak a language knows harbinger?
because it's one of those words that in most languages tends to sound very similar because its root word is very similar.
It's
Yeah,
it's like, or I like to imagine Orcish has a bunch of words that are just in common,
It would make
Yeah.
sense.
like how Gaelic and other languages like that just have English words rammed in there because there just isn't a word for them.
Yeah,
Well,
that checks out with her.
classic. Markusar comes up with a not very good idea.
Classic Markusar traumatizes the children moment.
Oh boy, there he goes again, traumatizing the youth.
Yeah.
What funny things are you gonna do next?
Boy, here I go traumatizing again.
As quite a lot of your allies are getting injured, Dalarash, however, still standing strong on not very much hit points, is able to cast a fireball, again trying to weaken the ones that Ranaagash is kind of working on. She is able to kill one group of them in the blast of a fireball. However, the others, whilst now looking very cindered and very injured, they are still alive and are still shambling through the difficult terrain of ice.
Mm-hmm.
As Wolfric, it is your move.
Alright. I can get 15, 30. Am I at the thing, or am I still 15 feet away?
You're still 15 feet away from the dragon, and you're 15 feet away from the red dot, who, now because you're in distance, looks very familiar to you.
I don't like that.
Though, I will admit, looks very strange and, well, I would say Iron Dragon garb, but it seems that he is more put it together himself than anything else. As very much blighted, though I guess not in a way that you would be familiar with.
Yes.
As you have only seen truly infected creatures that have died and been risen from the grave. This one looks very different as I blind myself. Apologies.
She got flashbanged.
As he doesn't look too different, though he looks very much like Eidolon in terms of his infected veins and now very purpling skin. As he still has this kind of short, shaggy, blonde hair. Still that little bit shorter than you and that little bit more narrow than you, though obviously your movement draws his attention, or at least some of his attention, as he turns around to look at you, where coming down his cheek and through his lip you can see quite a prominent scar where you remember
fuck you. Fuck
you remember when you were very younger how he got that scar.
Oh, Ewan's mad.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Take any of the Iron Dragons. You chose his childhood best friend. You're a fucking monster.
I did, yeah. Yeah, I did. As kind of looking at you with very glassy eyes is your kind of best friend from back home in Huthsol, with his cobbled together Iron Dragon armor, most likely a way to probably find you after you went missing in the hopes of perhaps they knew where you went, is with very glassy eyes and a grin that's not his own. He kind of stares at you from across the battlefield.
End my turn there. Wolfric not fucking happy. What have they done to you?
Ewan's never given me NPCs again.
No, you've betrayed his trust too many times.
I know, eh? As I
Well,
have...
this just got a lot more awkward very quickly.
Oh, I'm assuming you'll have got Doggo to come with you as well, Ewan, so that it doesn't get dispelled.
Yep.
I will move Dog close. I'll pop him, like, there. So he's nearby Eidolon as you requested. Where's my thing? Because I have a lot of people around me who need healing. And I have a healer nearby. How are you actually looking, Ranaagash?
I have about 2/3 health. So not too bad. Give you specific numbers if that would help.
So you get 22 health back.
That is actually more than as I possibly needed, but thank you. I'm at max now. Or as max as I can be.
Max as I can be.
I'm missing 4 health.
As Shotha will use her turn to heal everyone, which is much needed for several of the orcs and Bartak. This one's not so good. And that's not a good amount of damage. So oh, she's actually nearly dead. So let's see if the guys inside the tent want to attack you or want to attack the children, Paul.
Hopefully they won't attack me.
You look like more meat.
They want to attack you.
Good?
Let's give this a-
Is
No, I
he
think-
really more meat? He's like malnourished as fuck.
They're children!
So Paul, you take 8 damage. As you kind of
Nice.
watch as the first attack, some of them almost clamber into each other, making the second attack with their tendrils almost stray off. As you take 8 poison damage and your maximum health is reduced by 8. However, thankfully they do not attack the children, and they do not attack Bartak's wives. However, it seems that perhaps your message didn't quite get through, as the kids are also not running away. Sorry.
You know what? It was a dumb idea. I don't know what I expected.
As those won't hit, that one will hit.
I'm just like, I'm overwhelmed right now. I'm not a fighter. Why do I have like so many people around me?
You're a lover, not a fighter.
A lover, not a fighter. As Eidolon,
Hello?
a 6 and a nat 20. So,
Shockingly, one of those will in fact hit.
however, you have your thing up, don't you?
Thing?
You are now immune to acid, poison, necrotic damage, and heal half, don't you?
Yes.
So you would have taken 16 damage, because it is poison damage. However,
Oh, yeah.
you do not take 16 poison damage. You instead restore 8 hit points.
So I restore no hit points
Yes.
because I am at full health.
Yes.
That's slightly sad, but yeah,
It's the principle.
it's the principle. I can hold up my left arm in the way.
Moved. I just get to do a lot of moving, which kind of sucks. Oh no. Okay, that's not too bad. That's only 13. She's not in single digits yet. Is that? Yeah. She's not in single digits yet. 30, 60. 30, 60.
I'm here to make it 100% clear. This is not going to impact the amount of NPCs I create for next campaign.
Just means I can get a lot more deaths.
He'll write more, so and hope he'll write like 4 like solid ones, and then about 15 he doesn't really care about. So like he just
He's got cannon
the
fodder.
chance that yeah
So
fodder, the odds are better.
If you kill like 3 of my NPCs, like roughly, I'm going to just make so many NPCs that the amount that you end up killing feels irrelevant.
She'll just keep them all alive, so that then you even have to deal with the ones you didn't initially intend.
I'll just
You
like
and
pull a
this person's own
180.
Dragon Quest party.
I'll pull a 180 and none of humans will die. All of them will stay alive. As I'm gonna make one attack against Wolfric, which doesn't
The
hurt.
passenger meme of just that's the good ending.
As the dragon kind of comes to almost swipe at you and pin you to the ground, using quite a lot of momentum and quite a lot of force as it does so. However, you almost sink between its claws and are just standing. It doesn't even hit you. This one seems to be not like the bigger one you fought in the cave. This one doesn't seem to be as sentient, nor does it seem to be as old. It is more a beast just trying to attack you.
Fucking missed. It's this fucking amateur hour.
As I guess I'll get to see if someone else hits you. Hey, Ewan.
Yes.
As very glassy-eyed, you watch as not running nor charging nor, I guess, moving very carefully, very calmly towards you, Hrafn starts taking these steps. The one thing that strikes you as very strange about him is, I guess, the weapon that he's wielding. It's not a weapon you've seen him wielding before, but it is very similar to a weapon you've seen someone else wielding before. Though it's not the exact same one, as that'd be very, very inconvenient for him, considering it's made of him. As the weapon he seems to almost be dragging across the floor, almost seems oversized for him, is a very, very large, very, very hefty, almost ball-headed mace. As a 22, a 24, and a 28.
All hit.
Jesus!
Sheesh.
Just give me the total.
Yeah, I will have to half some of it for you, because some of it is poison damage as well. So it's 15, 26, and...
Too pog to live, too cringe to die.
I wish you'd die.
41. And then this is halved, so that'd be 46. And then totals 49 points of damage.
Fun. Total is 49.
As he just almost picks it up, drags it across the floor, even picking up some rock and dirt as he does so, and just smacks it against your side.
Just winces. Now I know, and Wolfric's eyes kind of harden. He's like, now I know you're not in there anymore. You've never been able to land a hit that good.
Oh.
As-
This actually feels sad.
The voice that starts to emanate as you see like this cracking of his jaw, where the way he speaks is it's like someone is breaking and manipulating it rather than him actually speaking, as the voice that comes from his lips is also not his own, but is also very familiar. He can land a hit because he is no longer in control.
So he's in there.
Far enough from you, at least until you lie dead. Oaf.
I haven't missed you, Gerdra.
As Eidolon.
Hello. Do I see Markusar anymore? She said he looked in bother.
You will have seen Markusar obviously be in bother. You'll have seen him kind of almost respond to something and then dart inside Bartak's tent, taking a hit as he does so. Quite a big hit at that as well, where he's not come back out. But because of your passive perception, you would have been able to see the light of the moonsicle, this very dim moonlit glow, slice through, or attempt to slice through part of Bartak's tent, making quite a prevalent hole, but not a very big hole, as it is a sickle, not an actual weapon.
In that case, I'll go through the main entrance, which is right here,
Whee.
if that's acceptable.
Yes, you are also now in tent.
So what do I see when I'm in here now?
Tent party. You will see Markusar cutting shapes.
Tent party.
Like the dad he is.
It's a tent.
Pardon me. You'll be able to see this kind of group of blighted creatures, these blighted peasants, townsfolk, attacking Markusar, almost raking into him. You will be able to see the eldest of Bartak's wives dead on the floor. His two younger wives, the one that you had spoken to since, trying to keep the children and his, or Bartak's youngest wife, I guess, calm in the situation. She seems to be trying to talk to the four of them, so the three young daughters and the other wife, but obviously it's in Orcish, so you can't understand it.
How many blighted peasants are there in here?
There's a group of 4. However, they are a little bit toasty, but looking okay.
Are they all on Markusar?
Yes.
Well, I'm here now, so I might as well lend a hand. If he looked like he was dealing with it, I would have left. But I don't think there's any point of me leaving.
It's probably good to give him a
Got this,
hand
bro.
just in case they get bored of him.
Get bored of him. In that case, I'll move around them, so I'm between the group of them who are attacking Markusar and the group of orcs in the back of the tent.
Yep.
Essentially just moving my way around them. As I do, I'll just try to slash into the back of one of them. As that's a 21.
That'll hit.
So he takes 13 slashing damage. Is
Yep.
that one still alive?
Mhm.
Essentially, I'll cut through, essentially just take a quick hop, spin around and try slash back again as I'm moving past it. See if I can't kill this one. Nat 20.
Yep.
As he takes 30 points of slashing damage.
I literally only have difficulty with the number 5 today. As you kind of manage to cut through one, sending it onto the ground, as well as cutting into another one as you do so.
Also, essentially, as I'll... Wait, so 2 of them are dead?
Well, one of them, you managed to kind of injure another one.
Ah, cool. So I'll move through, slash as I'm moving, take the hop, spin around, slash down, and use just the residual flow of the blade to cut into the second one. And then I'll just take an unarmed strike to try take one of the tendrils and just push it into that wound that I've made retroactively. As does a 23 hit.
Yep.
Cool, I'll empowered arms, so that's 3d8 plus 4. As that's 15 points of force damage.
So the group is now cut in half.
Cool. So I'll move through, take a slash, hop, slash through, then take a tendril, press it into the essentially hole that I made, rip the tendril up so that it comes out of the mouth of the creature, and then just rip its head off like that.
Gross.
And effective.
You're now
Yeah.
dealing with a tent of screaming children.
Yes, but the things are dying. The children can repair themselves, maybe not mentally.
No, they're
No, they're
hard for life.
this is a big scar, big scar.
Craig, why?
I mean, it's the most effective way to kill them, but there is also a 10-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 3-year-old in there.
Trained to be tact,
the-
but trained to be effective.
The women aren't looking great, but they are able to at least control themselves a little bit, whilst the children are panicking and screaming. As neither of those hit, and
Stop panicking, Anakin. Jesus has a plan.
isn't going to end well, but it's what she would do. Actually, all of those hit, so this might end slightly better than I thought. Is 8 times 5 is 40. That is... One of the groups of orcs dead, though these are the groups that you guys can't really see what's going on, because none of you have a clear line of sight to over there. As... Ranaagash.
Okay.
By the way, something I didn't mention. So, on the map, the blue dot obviously moved. Just for your positioning of stuff. There is now a giant elk there.
Is it?
It's James Potter.
Is it friendly?
It doesn't appear to be attacking you. It's very golden, however. Very strange colour for an elk. Doesn't look very natural.
Okay. Okay. I know what that is. I have a vague idea of what that is, but Ran will not know what that is. So I'm going to continue with my plan of saving Private Shorter. So, I'm gonna basically switch what I did last turn. So with bonus action, I will drop meteors on this one over here on the right.
Yep.
Specifically in this square behind them to minimize damage to the Shotha and collateral damage. So can I get, let's just drop them both 2 deck saves, please.
That's like the 3rd time I've done that tonight. 12 on both.
Okay, fails both, so I can just roll a chunky 4d6.
This is the times where I wish I had a dice cam, where it's like, look at my double 8s constantly.
How's it looking?
Looking pretty good.
That's not very good. How's the one left looking?
Let me find him. That's the not looking great.
Where okay, I think that can be dealt with. I think saving an elder even be kind of shitty of me tasking an elder to help and then just have them killed. So
please help us, but if you die, that's not my problem.
I am really well on the spell slots front. I may just have to drop a magic missile on it. Do I upcast it? Can I afford to upcast it? Oh, you know what? Fuck it. No, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's a little peasant. So just first level. So it'll be 3d4 plus 3. That's 10 force.
On which one? The left-hand group or the right-hand group? Same one?
The right-hand group. Yes, we need Shotha alive, preferably. Because they can't banish me if they're dead.
They can't banish me if they're dead. Well, I mean, there's other ones who are alive who could do that.
Yeah, but it's not the same if you know, you've seen the whole the cancer will decide your fate thing. There's 5 of them, we need all 5.
At least maybe like the ones who like you can put in a good word rather than, you know...
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You need Shotha and Dalarash to give you a good word.
Yes, exactly. So that's my action, that's my bonus action. Moving is not beneficial to me at the moment, so I will refuse. Stay put.
I will refuse. I will not move.
That's me. Oh, and while I have my turn, just quickly, Twisted Fate Entertainment LSE does not approve of the committal of war crimes, especially towards infants and women, and especially with the use of fire. I couldn't get that in when it was Paul's turn. No, that's me.
You took a good time to do it.
Better late than never.
It's important they know we don't condone war crimes.
As at least for yourself, Wolfric, since you're kind of, I guess, closer to the action at this point where a lot of the enemies are, you can see that the group of hunters that you and Markusar spoke to, they are starting to deal with the, I guess, smaller dregs that were coming in from the hunting grounds. And it seems, at least from the mists from the North, they haven't quite reached that area yet to start reviving the blights. The bodies are decomposing very, very quickly. So, positives there. As Markusar, you're in the tent, so is Eidolon. The enemies are looking pretty injured. The kids are terrified, and the women, whilst terrified, are trying to maintain some semblance of sanity so that the kids don't start freaking out even more and possibly hurting themselves or getting hurt in the process.
there's still some peasants in here, correct?
Yes.
Alright, then I will try to attack them with my sickle. So I swing my sickle in their direction.
And hit.
Does an 18 hit?
Yes.
Good. Good shit. Max damage.
That's pretty nice. They're still alive, but that's still pretty nice.
So...
I was just going to say, bonus action, you still have your flaming sphere up.
I do have my flaming sphere up. But it's outside the tent, and... Are they, like... The map's not entirely clear. Are the peasants still within the tent?
The peasants are still within the tent. I moved them slightly for Eidolon's benefit, so that I could put Eidolon in the tent too. Am
I able to ram it into the soldier outside?
So you don't know if they've moved or not. Obviously, you are inside the tent, so you'd be taking a bit of a risk to obviously try and move it. But it is large enough that, well, would Markusar kind of just ram it into the same place?
I mean, like, I can move it up to 30 feet, so let's say I move it in like a sort of...
Almost like a 5-foot circle.
Exactly, yeah, so like 20 feet, just like... wop, 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 wop. Make like a little tornado of the sphere. Right in the vicinity of where I thought they might be.
16.
Oh shit, I did hit! Fucking they fail.
I gave them advantage because you didn't know quite where they were, but it was a 14 or a 16, so...
Yeah, I get fucked. 10 damage.
That is not bad. They're still alive, but still not bad.
Thought as much. And I'll just say to Eidolon, thank you so much for coming. You have no idea how stressed I am.
How many are alive right now?
You have half a group, so there's 2 left.
I'd more just give Markusar a nod before turning back to face the other 2.
As... I'll give her an attack roll. She does have an attack, but I don't think she can do very much with it. I say she rolls a nat 20. Never mind. Ranaagash, you don't have to worry about those other group of enemies. As the acolyte who's been helping. So, Ararash, or Aharash, orcish names, yay, kind of just, almost in fear and panic, you kind of see her summon this very white holy light, stretch out her palm, and it almost coils round like a serpent or bird, and then flies out of her hand and just pierces through this golden light, striking down these blighted creatures. As we'll see if these guys can die as well, that would be nice. No, that will not hit. The guys are not dead. Not having the best of luck. Is Misty Step a bonus action or an action? I can never remember.
Bonus action.
Yes.
Bonus action. Nice.
Very nice.
I'm also running out of spell slots, Matthew.
After solidarity.
Yeah. We can vibe together with no spell slots. I do have slightly more spell slots than you do, just because she's a higher level caster than you. It's just...
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
we'll go that at 6th, so it is 21.
Do you think M regrets making combat?
I always regret making combat, Craig. Always regret making combat. Whenever combat should come up, I should just hand Matthew all the combat shit and go, Matthew, run it for me. I'll do the descriptions, you just do the numbers.
I'm honoured.
Because I can do cinematic combat, but I can't do like HP and AC and like rolls and numbers. It just hurts. It's painful inside. This other group of enemies is still up, but they aren't looking good. As Dalarash lets loose, similar to yourself, a collection of magic missiles. As Wolfric, you have a dragon and Hrafn, who is possessed by Gairdra.
Hrafn's the priority.
How are you approaching this? 2 attacks. Yes, that will hit.
I can re-roll ones. That's a lot better. That is instead a 13, and then I roll a d8. That's 20 points of radiant damage for the first hit. Second hit.
That'll hit. You know, it's quite nice actually seeing Wolfric be able to hit like in the 20s now, like just because why not?
And that's another
20
20
damage. Total of 40
Wolfric's
damage.
just like swinging the axe, just swinging the axe, and he's just staring at Hrafn the entire time, and just as he sinks the axe in, he pushes it closer on the final attack. He doesn't care if Geirdre's in there and can hear him, and he just looks at Hrafn and goes, "What am I gonna tell your mum?" and then pulls the axe out.
What are you going to tell his mum? What are you going to tell a lot of people's mums, actually, and families? Acting
What
head
more
of
can
the
you
Eye of the
say?
Dragons. As a lot of characters will obviously be moving around. As I need strength save, he fails. As a lot of people are just moving for this round, as a lot of enemies are not within their vicinity. However, Wolfric, perhaps through radiance, you're not too sure, you notice a very golden stag suddenly charges past you and charges past Hrafn, comes onto the battlefield and almost knocks into him, charging past him ever so slightly, knocking him prone. 6, 13, 17, 23, 30, 34. He takes 34 damage. As
Who?
not charging into you, Hrafn. As Hrafn takes 34 damage, as not charging into you, the elk seems to almost bypass you, as it just charges straight for the, I guess, evil-looking creature. As you do not look blighted nor infected, it assumes that perhaps you are a good creature. As this elk seems to have quite a lot of sentience, as I can only make 2 attacks. Which goes to these guys, which kills them, and then only 1 attack will hit these guys, which is not a lot of damage at all, and they're still moving so they can't do anything. And then I have, well, dragon first, as the very radiant elk is now the focus of the dragon, as it appears that when this thing charges past, it is almost like a beacon for the dragon, where it is not happy. This Northul does not like this creature, whatever it may be. And I have 2 attacks, because it is a babby. AC 14. 1 will miss, 1 will hit. And it is 2d10 plus 4, which is 9, 13. Cool. Elk is still elk.
Let's go.
However, let's see if Wolfric's still Wolfric. I think so, as I don't think any of those will hit. Actually, 2 of them might, because it's a 15 and then 2 19s.
Both hit.
19 is AC.
Alright, my AC is 18.
Is it? I thought your AC was 19.
No, my AC is 18.
Gasp.
Let's pass through the Citadel one more time so Ewan can finally buy the plate.
10, 20, 33, 39, 45 points of damage.
Yep, unconscious.
Oh no.
As, again, a few more blows this time, taking perhaps a more familiar fighting style, as the two of you used to beat the shit out of each other as children. Taking multiple blows rather than one hefty, heavy swing, he strikes you. First in the side, almost knocking you down, making you stumble, to then bring it across your head and just knock you unconscious on the floor.
I was gonna say, wait. How much did the first hit have done? Because this is just determine things, because I only had 24 hit points left.
Okay, so the first 2 attacks would have brought you down, you would be on 1 fail.
I'd be on 1 fail. Okay, yeah. That's just what I wanted to confirm. Not trying to get myself killed, I just wanted everything to be fair and even on...
Yeah.
I
We
mean-
want that narrative of tension.
He's going to try and kill you. He just doesn't have
Yeah.
the attacks to do so.
Yeah.
Is he has
Okay, yeah.
Wolfric's fighting style, and also Deirdre's Angara. Deirdre does not like Wolfric. So
It's mad because he doesn't...
I mean,
Wow.
little bit. Little
Things
bit.
Wolfric has that Gerdra doesn't. A significant other, parents that love him.
I mean, technically,
Parents one is a
Deirdre-
little unfair.
Like, Deirdre did kind of have parents that loved him, they just weren't his parents, they were Eidolon's parents, which he didn't like Eidolon for.
He also had a parent, an adopted parent, who did love him.
Yeah,
He just
did.
didn't respect him back.
Yeah.
Damn, the more I learn about Gerdra, the more that he really was setting himself up to be a shithead.
Yes.
He had all the options to be perfectly fine.
As Eidolon.
Hello. There are still people in here, yes?
Yes.
Cool. Let's try make there not people in here.
You're gonna kill those kids?
Wrong people,
There's only
Paul.
one. Essentially discarding the head that I've been able to, well, rip from this blight and put on the ground. Taking the sword back, I'm just gonna try drive it into the side of the head of one of these other blighted creatures.
Yep.
19.
Yes.
See if I can't knock it down. That's 18 damage.
Let me math. Yep. There is only one left with you guys now.
Cool. So how that would look is essentially drive it into the side of its head, take the boot, kick the body, so that it's essentially separated from the throat.
You're doing
Nice.
wonders for these kids' mental states.
Oh yeah.
Essentially just taking the blade, putting it back down again, just letting the head roll again. Walk over and a more simple overhead slash, trying to carve down from the shoulder down through the creature's torso. See if I can't kill it with this. 21?
Yep.
And that's 17 damage.
Nope.
Cool. So slash, take it down the torso. Essentially, as I keep it there, take the blight, and I'm just going to try and just place the left hand on the shoulder, and we'll see if I'm able to kill it. That's a 11.
That misses.
These peasants have AC.
Yes.
Things seem to be going okay, so I'm going to burn my last key point and try for a second attack. Just see if we can clear this up. 24.
Yep.
And I will Empowered Arms. 19.
That will kill it.
Essentially just
Alright.
placing the hand on the shoulder, letting the tendrils work through the corpse to wrap around my sword, and then just rip the sword out.
Poggers.
Such a half-hearted poggers.
Things ain't going my way, boys.
Well,
I
you
may
have a
have-
Markusar free now.
I may have yeed my last haw.
Wolfric will be tipping his hat to those ladies in the sky.
Wolfric
The
would
lady.
be a cowboy. In all realism, Wolfric would be a cowboy.
I want to be a cowboy, baby.
He has the personality for a cowboy.
Ma'am.
He's just the most Scottish cowboy possible, which would actually make sense because a lot of the immigrants to the from the United Kingdom to the south of the United States were actually Scottish. Which
How'd they
makes
cook
sense
the
that
heat?
which, yeah, I know. Which makes it very would likely made sense that cowboys would have had some white cowboys would have had Scottish accents.
Or Irish accents as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's no room in this town for the both of us.
for everybody else.
Paul, get on writing that.
Thank you, Ewan. That's inspiration.
As Ranaagash.
The good, the bad, and the ugly, but it's set in paisley.
The good, the bad, and the pure bouffin.
The good, the wrong-uns, and the absolute bampots.
Right. It's time. So, bonus action. Misty step to the other side of this tent, so I am now here.
Yes.
Movement 30 feet, so I am now here.
Yes.
Let me just mark off that spell cast so I don't forget it. action, cast. I'm gonna get the name right. Immolation on the dragon, but use my last portent.
To give it the
So
9.
it has to give it the 9 as I diagnose it with being on fire.
What is,
Diagnose you with being on fire.
what is the actual save so I know what to add to the 9?
Condition.
Let me just double check. Immolation. Dex.
Oh.
Dex save, please.
So that's a 12 as your 9 disappears, and I'm pretty sure that's a fail.
It just fails, so it takes the full 8d6.
Rand's getting
This
some
is about-
big dice. I can't
And
wait.
maybe
This is-
hopefully it's a terminal case of being on fire.
I mean, it's
Fine.
a not great case of being on fire. It's still looking pretty good as it's not taking any damage thus far, but
It's now on fire.
it's now on fire.
Things being on fire is a good start.
Things being on fire is always a good start. Is Misty Step, Immolation, Movement. Rand's now kind of in the firing line a little bit, but you know, he's taking a risk.
Mm-hmm.
Can this thing fucking die already? Apparently not. As Markusar.
Yes.
There are no more bad guys left in the tent, and you're not too sure how the battle's going outside of the tent.
I would ask Eidolon, will they be okay here by themselves?
Are you gesturing towards the
The
innocents in the back?
Family of traumatized children and mothers.
The rest of the creatures seem to be out there, so unlikely any will come in here.
Fit a boost then.
I'm gonna
Wouldn't say that.
What is that slang combo?
Finna means I'm gonna.
No, I'm aware. I know what it means, but it's like those words don't go together.
Fit a boost. No. I'll go see what I can do. And then I'll exit the tent. Move myself here. And what do I see?
So there are still 3 kind of groups of the Watchmen, Iron Dragons, these more knighted, armoured blights. A few of them are looking pretty untouched. It seems that a lot of the, I guess, assistance you guys will have had coming from the battlefield has just been able to get over to this side. You will not be able to see Ranaagash, he seems to have disappeared. Positive you don't see a body, so you assume he's still alive. There is a dragon on fire, so that's likely where he is. You are able to see, well, Wulfric downed. You'll be able to see kind of his corpse or body. You will also be able to see a very almost brightly glowing golden stag that seems to be down by the dragon and Wulfric's body as well.
A glowing stag.
Yes.
Can I check if that's anything to do with the she?
You can give me nature or religion.
Nature's better. 17.
It might have something to do with she, not because it is one of the she's creatures, but perhaps it is another druid. As the coloration of the stag, this very, very almost liquid gold colour, is not a natural colour for an elk or a stag, and its radiance, the kind of shimmer it has to a lot of its fur, also is not natural. However, it does resemble druidic magic.
I see. So, sorry, I'm trying to look. Okay. I can see Wulfric is down, correct?
Yes.
Do I still have my flaming sphere up? Or is that ended?
How long is the duration on Flaming Sphere?
A minute.
That would still technically be up.
And is it near a group of armored, blighted people?
The orange dot on your left.
Yes. Because I can only move it in a bonus action. Or can I move it in action as well, or does it have to be a bonus action?
Bonus action.
Yeah, fair. Okay, but I want to use my bonus action to heal Wulfric with a healing word.
You can't reach.
I can't reach? Can I move closer to him?
Yes.
60 feet.
Well, actually,
Oh, not 60.
no, you can reach him.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah, just, yeah.
Just. Okay. We'll do you a solid.
You giving him pretty good heals, or you giving him subpar heals?
Could have been better, but actually no, that's pretty good. You know, apart from the ones. You are healed for 19, Wolfric.
You are healed. I have healed you.
You have the health.
You have thy health. And I suppose for my action, do I have enough movement to move over to this group of soldiers here?
Yes.
And I shall simply attack them with my sickle.
Give me an attack roll.
Across them. Try to slice their throats or something. Another 19.
That will hit.
Sick. Lit. Not so lit.
No, that's not so lit at all.
Damage is damage.
4 is more than 0.
Yeah.
Or 7 is more than 0. No, it is 4, never mind.
They're not looking great, however.
Ooh. Eidolon!
Calls from inside
I guess
tent.
I'm just the follow-up today, aren't I?
You saved my ass, but in the last round, you can save my ass again this round.
The Markusar cleanup crew.
Yeah. You just finished my fucking dinner.
What I'm here to do.
As this group of peasanted blights, or blighted peasants, doesn't really seem to want to die no matter how much Dalarash or Ranaagash attack it with magic. They're just not moving, they're just not dying. As Wolfric, you now have 19 HP.
Awesome, I'm also on the ground.
You are also on the ground.
So I will use half my movement to get back up.
Not be on the ground anymore.
And I'm gonna make... Is the wolf still up?
No, your wolf will have been dispelled when you fell unconscious.
Okay, I'm gonna try and get... Yeah, I'm gonna just stand up. My focus right now is knocking Hraffen down, so first attack.
Swoop the leg while you're prone.
18.
He is prone.
Oh, I have advantage, sick. So I'll just roll another.
The elk knocked him down.
Okay, so the 18 hits,
Yes.
because that was with advantage. So that is 14 plus
Your
reroll ones,
Your holy damage.
20.
What is it with you and rolling 20 damage, Wolfric?
It's 220k each one, plus 8,
27!
plus 27,
That will also hit.
1d12 plus 4.
Max
Fuck him
damage,
up.
let's go.
I wanted you to
19.
roll a 4!
Yeah,
That'd be...
that's...
Drop a divine smite and just make it 20.
Oh, that's really satisfying.
No, I save divine smites for crits.
Ah.
Do all the damage. He is still up, however, he's not looking too great. As you get back
Wolfric
up and
kinda-
back into the fight.
Stands up, wipes some blood from the side of his mouth, and now looks at him, talking to Geirdre, picks his axe back up after the 2 hits and just goes, I can do this all day.
I know you
said it.
can.
And you're just like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know.
Gonna give some movements. Some attacks. Hopefully do some damage. 3's not bad. That's 17, 34, 41, 54. This one, as it starts taking some damage, which is pretty nice. Oh, my nose is itchy too, which is also not nice.
That's...
Not nice.
Then Markusar.
Excuse me.
Well, you're next to bad guys.
No.
As a 14 and a 17.
Yeah, they both hit.
So you will take 18 damage, and your maximum hit
Okay.
points are reduced by another 8.
Well, that's because I'm poisoned, right?
Yeah, the poison damage reduces your hit points on blighted creatures.
Bugger. Probably like protect myself from poison. A minus 18. So that's. Ooh, that's quite a lot actually. I'm not looking great, boys.
As Wolfric, you watch as, I guess it's quite horrifying. You've seen it once before as Markusar did it in almost a fit of rage in the ritual grounds when you guys were in the trial area.
Yes.
You watch as the elk starts to change shape. It starts to almost shed its fur as its fur starts to become clothing. Its antlers start to almost disappear and almost form a braid.
Ooh.
As awkwardly for you, you recognise him, though he is very much not unconscious anymore, as the elf that you, Eidolon and Ranaagash chaperoned into the tent last night is standing in front of you.
I pretend I do not see.
Oh god, oh fuck, oh god, oh fuck.
Ranaagash starts pacing in the middle of combat as he kind of just turns over to you, seeing you standing up and fighting against the thing that he charged into. As he kind of just looks at you, a very stern expression. Are you a friend or a foe?
I'm friends with your son.
He looks very confused at you for a moment before you kind of see him. He was quite certain before, now quite shaken in the eyes. Takes a hand, almost whirls it and wisps it in the air for this almost collection of golden laurel leaves to appear. As they do so, they start to appear as a halo above your head, and you feel rejuvenated as you regain 70 hit points.
Let's fucking go!
You. Man,
Just when they think I'm out, they pull me back in.
Markusar, can you give me a perception check? Active perception check, so not against your passive.
Okay, let's go. Let's stop saying it's pretty awesome. 18. That's my passive.
You, out the corner of your eye as you're fighting these blighted creatures, are able to see at the other side of the battlefield an elf appear and transform from the stag. The elf looks very familiar to you, though not quite how you remember him, as you're almost certain, you're not like 100% sure, it's almost like a double take, where you're almost certain that kind of looks like your dad. But like a really kind of, I say young version of your dad, like a young version of your dad like 20 years ago.
I mean, you know, elves have very similar features. You know, there's a chance it couldn't be my dad.
It might just be another elf. Like, you know, there was that elf that was sleeping in the tent this morning. Like, maybe it was him. Like, why would that be your dad? Your dad's dead.
Yeah, why on earth would it be my, like, fucking... Actually, 18 wisdom or 12 intelligence. I guess I should maybe not be as dumb as this. But I'm not going to focus on it too much because I'm in the middle of combat right now. That's weird, and let's deal with that later. Is my flaming sphere still up? Is it even my turn, actually?
It would be, but it is not your turn. As I put
Sorry,
papers in front of my camera as I check the effect of something. As the dragon cannot hit for shit, as it misses Evelios twice. However, Hrafn is able to hit Evelios and Wolfric on a 31 for Wolfric and a 24 for Evelios.
31 hits.
Is it? He doesn't like you, and he doesn't like the fact that this stupid elf brought you back to life. 5, 8. Well, that's no damage at all. Wolfric, you take 11 damage total.
Cool.
And Evelios takes 13. As he kind of brings the mace up to kind of strike you. He's attempting to twice, but as he's almost spinning on his heel to obviously turn around to strike the elf, he misses his first attack, scraping you with the second and bringing the mace into the side of Evelios. As Eidolon.
My turn?
Yep. I'm assuming you're getting...
Markusar's calling for help.
Yeah, you're getting out of tent. You now have movement to move outside of tent.
So, is it just this group of blights left here?
Well, you've got the ones fighting Markusar, you've got the ones fighting the orcs, and you've got the ones fighting the orcs, and then you've got red dot, black dot.
Is Markusar doing okay?
Is Markusar doing okay, Paul?
On a percentage, I'm about 38%.
Okay, I'm gonna help Markusar with this group.
What are you going to do when you can no longer give your health in percentages, Paul?
Well, technically my max health isn't a satisfying 100, but my
So it's
hit
101.
point max.
How many blights are left in front of Markusar?
1.
Just one?
If you want the total number technically in the group.
Cool, I'm just gonna step in and... Well, we'll see if I can deal with it in 1 slash, because that would be kind of cool. 27?
That will hit.
16 damage? That's a weird dichotomy. Is that both of them dead?
Yep.
As it's more just step out the tent. I'm assuming there was 2 in front of Markusar. It's more just take the blade, slash across both of their chests, and just let them fall down.
Death.
I say to Eidolon, why do you make it look so easy?
The amount of time I've done this, it needs to be easy.
Yes.
Be thankful this is difficult for you. As how many are here?
3.
3. Okay. We can see how we do. As I'll step back down here, make sure I don't take attacks of opportunity moving past them, as I'll attempt to deal with how many are here. See if I can't. That's a non-nat 20.
Hits.
As 20 points of damage. Does that take down any of them?
Takes down 1.
As I'd essentially go over, grab one of them by the shoulder, turn them around, and then just pierce the blade through their chest for ripping it out. And, well, we will reach a tendril up into the air, sort of like cascade around, carousel around, and almost try and drill into the skull of one of them. Well, one of the other ones. 8. That is 21.
Hits.
Empowered arms for 23 force damage. Is that 1 more dead, or is that 2 dead?
No, that's just damage the second one.
Ooh, not even dead?
Nope.
As yeah, I'll just keep the tendril drilling into him. There's a tendril piercing into his skull now.
Pleasant.
He's making a drilling noise. It will pierce the heavens one day.
That will not hit. They're staying put. Ranaagash.
Okay. First things first, the dragon took its turn, didn't it?
Yeah.
Can you make me a dex save to see if it's still suffering from being on fire?
18.
It is unfortunately made a full recovery from being on fire. But fortunately, I am the world's worst doctor and I intend to restore this condition. So, I'm going to cast Scorching Ray at 4th level. So let me just remind myself, I believe that is more blasts, so it's a lot of blasts. Scorching Ray, blah blah blah. 1 additional rate, so 3, 4, 5. Okay. Time for macros. Yeah, those good. How many of those hit the dragon?
4 of 5.
4 out of
Nice.
5. So that is another 86 fire damage. That's only 21. That's kind of disappointing.
You essentially just casted Fireball on it there.
Yep. And then, so that's action, bonus action, I do not have much, and movement, I'm going to
Fuck off.
get the hell out of dodge. Do what I do best.
And run away.
Yes. And that is my turn.
This group is finally dead, leaving you with 2 groups of the, or only 1 group now of the kind of more armoured ones and 1 group of the more peasanty ones. As it's taking quite a while for quite a few injured orcs to actually be able to scramble together to hurt and injure and kill them. As Markusar, you're now free to move.
Thank goodness.
There's not much left on the battlefield.
How's everyone looking?
I think everyone's looking alright.
I'm still on full health after I got a heal, so I'm pretty good. As in the spell heal, which essentially fully fucking heals us.
Okay.
I've taken damage. I took a lot at the beginning of this combat, but
What about Bartak and his compatriots?
Bartak's looking alright. The other kind of groups of orcs are injured, but they're looking okay.
Okay, I was gonna maybe do a mass cure wounds if everyone's kind of needing it, but it doesn't appear so.
Might just be a Wolfric that needs healing.
Well then, I'll give him another healing word. How's that, Wolfric?
Sounds good.
Cool. I won't give you a 5th level one this time. Let's go for a 4th. Healthy 17 hit points back.
Let's
Wolfric.
go. Thank you very much.
Wolfric's getting all the HP back.
Wait, didn't he get like a 7? Didn't he just get 70 HP back?
Yep.
Got a heal.
Fair enough.
A spell that
Just a little-
Markusar will be able to take at some point.
Ooh. I can take it. I have a. We don't have to dwell on it. I do have a 6. I do have a 6th level spell slot. I just haven't used it yet because I don't know what I want to put in there yet.
That's fair. As you still have an action.
I do have an action. That's my spell. So I guess I'll do for Eidolon what he's been doing for me, and I'll get close to these guys and attack.
Give me an attack
My
roll.
hero.
23 hit.
That hits.
5 points of damage.
They're still alive.
I would think so.
Hey, you helped though. That's what counts, right?
I give Eidolon like a knowing nod, like, yeah, I got your back.
You get a slightly tired stare. Just like, wow, my hero.
Wow, you did a great job. You know what? I'm gonna really remember this.
No, as much as he's slightly sarcastic, Eidolon is quite appreciative.
Yeah.
As you're giving each other quite an appreciative nod, a almost glowing, radiant sparrow flies past and pierces the head of one of the blighted creatures, dropping it to the floor, leaving only one left in that group.
Sparrow, you said?
Yes.
Where did it originate from?
The young acolyte that is kind of terrified of the current situation.
Okay, fair enough.
Finally, the other group of peasants is now dead, with several forced missiles tearing their body to shreds. As Wolfric.
Aye. Let's be dealing with Raffen.
He's looking pretty sore.
Take it that misses.
Yes. That will hit though. Reroll. Nice.
Let's
16.
go. So that is a total of 23 points of radiant damage. So kind of whiff the second hit, but then grab it and almost fully windmill it over my head, and then bam.
He is looking pretty sore. Still up and still... Well, it's kind of strange. I guess his fighting style, his energy has not diminished, but the condition of his body has. As clearly his body isn't able to take as many hits as it has, but whatever is keeping it alive, whatever is channeling this energy into him, is forcing his body to stay alive. As give Bartak some hits. I think all but one of those will hit. Which is 8, 12, 13, 16, and then 28 plus 9 is 37, plus 12 is 49, which kills the last of those blights, leaving you just with Raffen and the dragon left standing.
We're almost fucking there.
Almost there.
As you wish. Give myself at least one.
Just hear numbers and I hear the word wish and I'm like, fucking what?
Let's hope not.
I mean, if someone's casting wish, we might just all die instantly.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could technically do 2, 3, 4, 5, which is 4 dex saves from Dragon, 1 dex save from Raffen. Dragon passes 1, fails 3. Raffen fails his. And then the dragon gets that times 3. Matthew, what's 59 times 3?
177.
Yep.
Thank you, Paul. I'll ask you for math from now on.
Replaced.
No, Matthew, I will always come to you for my math.
Literally, he's got math in his name.
Math.
Well, it's
holy shit,
actually
he does.
it's actually like math like math.
Yeah, it's about. Is that a sudden realization on someone's part there? No? Good. So you've only known me 2 years, you know?
But do we really know Matthew?
I got meta.
Got like
Yeah.
like really philosophical.
I mean,
Matthew,
I learned
do
some.
you know Matthew?
I barely know Matthew. I learned some very interesting stuff about him just the other day.
I don't think no. I
Ah,
think we
that
should
was-
wait. Let's wait for the break before we like psychoanalyze me, shall we?
As I get to put away a lot of papers, which is quite nice. As you kind of watch, as from the sky, this kind of purple hue, this purple fire that seems to be covering a lot of Myrr, starts swirling, and as it does so, it starts turning red. Where a very thick black cloud starts to appear from the sky, and for Wulfric, because you were close enough, and Eidolon, you have a stupid past perception, you can hear chanting in Druidic, which starts to turn the air in the forest very, very warm, very, very hot, and suddenly, almost like lightning cracks, but more like pillars of fire, start to erupt from the cloud, piercing the heavens and striking the earth, one by one going around the dragon, burning its corpse, burning its body, causing it to reel out in pain, and a final plume that engulfs Harafen. Wulfric, you're able to watch as whatever connection he had to Gairdra is severed, and in those final moments, as essentially his body is being eviscerated and radiant fire, you hear him scream. You hear Harafen scream. As when the fire is ended, there is nothing left. Even the ash of his body has been burned by this firestorm. As the four of you are out of combat. And we will deal with the aftermath after the break.
Oh boy.
As we're back. Out of combat. Yay, no more combat. Where you guys can finally assess the damage, count the dead, and see who's still alive.
And what the orcs would see Eidolon doing is moving around all the corpses and just making sure by just taking his fist and punching into their skulls.
Making sure they are all definitely dead.
Yes.
You watch as Shotha and her last remaining acolyte go around and tend to the injured, kind of gathering them up in the centre of camp, seeing who is left. A lot of the orcs and Bartak start going around the tents to see who is alive and who is not, starting to, I guess, assess the true damage of the situation now that there is no enemies, at least here, left to worry about. Markusar, in amongst all of this, whilst things are moving and going around, and you guys kind of gather, with Eidolon obviously moving around to ensure the blighted creatures are at their final rest. The elf creature starts to go around, and with the acolyte and Shotha start helping some of the wounded, start tending to some of the injured, with quite a comprehension of their language, at least in very basics, being able to communicate with them. Where as he's moving around and you're kind of almost following him with your eyes, like keeping an eye on him, like, is this not? Is this?
When you see someone in a shop and you think you know who they are, but like you kind of just follow them around for a bit.
Especially, it's like nowadays, everyone's got the mask on, and you're just like, is that him? You know, it's been a while, he might have grown his hair out, you know.
But as
my
he kind
first instinct... Oh, sorry.
Go for it, Paul.
My first instinct would be to tell Bartak about his family.
Oh.
Good man.
Is Bartak's gonna go and you help him, or see him help some of his other hunters who are injured? Help them bring over to the more central area in camp for Shotha and her acolytes to deal with, as he kind of just more turns to look at you as you don't look very impressed.
Bartak, or no, Chief, I advise that you visit your family in your tent. They have witnessed a great ordeal.
You kind of see his expression drop a little bit. What do you mean by ordeal?
I believe... What, was it like one or a couple of his wives?
There's just one.
One of them is dead. You don't know the condition of the others. They were alive though.
One of your wives has passed. Your children and other wives were witness to myself and Eidolon fending off the blighted.
You kind of see him swallow, kind of catching that lump in the back of his throat as he puts a hand on your shoulder. Thank you. Now, if you'll excuse me. As he kind of takes a few steps, turns to a few of his hunters, says something to them in Orcish, though you can still hear that crack in the base of his throat as he takes a breath and heads into his tent.
Okay. I think next I would go after the elf.
He is with some of the hunters, the kind of younger female, as well as the older female that you and Wolfric had met. She's kind of sat upon a log. They are both looking very drained and very injured. He's kind of tending to several of their wounds, using... I guess it doesn't help your mindset, as I get rid of Matthew's 9 as I see it still on screen, as it doesn't help your mindset as the healing methods that he uses are very similar to that of the Green Hand. The magics he uses are very similar to that of the Old Faith. It doesn't, you know, settle the "this isn't my dad," but at the same time...
It's not my dad, it's not my dad, it's not my dad.
It's like Ranaagash is staying far from the whole situation, seeing you slowly approach, just oh godding, oh fucking. As what do you do when you approach?
Excuse me, sir.
1 moment, I need to attend to the injured. If you are injured, take a seat, I'll see you in a moment.
I remember that I'm poisoned. And I'll cast protection from poison on myself.
He tends to himself, he's a king.
Because my max HP was dropped to like 68.
Oof.
Would that like remove that?
You'll need to take a long rest to properly remove that.
Okay.
But
I'll just...
positive you're no longer affected by poison.
Yeah. That's good.
Or at least this type of poison.
Okay. don't wish to trouble you. I have questions I would like to ask you.
Then your questions can wait for at least a moment.
Of course. And I guess I'll shyly walk away.
Shimmy away. As you watch him kind of heal up the two orcish women, making sure that he can tend to them as much as he can. A few of their wounds he leaves unhealed, but you watch as he bandages them up with a salve that would heal them naturally rather than with magic in order to prevent them from scarring or leaving them with any broken tissue. As he kind of picks himself up, dusts himself off, again as he turns round, images don't help you shake this from your head, as he's wearing very similar garb to that of your father, has very similar facial features to now yourself as well as Alania, and has very similar hair colour to that of Alania, this kind of very golden, almost dirty brown. As he kind of takes a few steps towards you, what would you wish to ask, my child?
During the battle, I noticed you exhibit some powerful magic. Are you of the She?
Of the old faith, yes. I was trained when I was very young under the Golden Sun, though I did not agree with all of their practices, and when my mentor passed, I created my own sect. Perhaps you have heard of them. We hail from Helden. Most know us as the Green Hand.
That's the thing I didn't want you to say. I am currently the father of the Green Hand.
You kind of see his expression shift to very much one of confusion. I don't really know where I am, I will be honest. The last I remember I was beginning my pilgrimage to the southern point of Helden, but I know you are
far from Helden.
I would assume so, my child, and I know that you are not me, so I know that you cannot be the father of the Green Hand, for that is who I am.
You are currently in the forest of Myrr, and I am the father, Markusar Wild, of the Green Hand.
You kind of see him laugh a little bit. You jest. Perhaps you have travelled to Helden and have met my son, knowing his name, but my son is a dragonborn, not an elf, and he is far too young to yet be father.
Are any of us wanting to step in, looking at Wolfric and Ranaagash?
Anybody!
Is there time for some intervention?
There is. At any point, the two of you can appear to be, actually.
I'm just imagining all of them just maybe 5-10 feet behind me just going...
Wolfric has been knelt in front of where Hrafn disappeared, and then he gets up and he walks over to Markusar and his father. Is everything alright over here?
I am trying to explain to this man that I am Father Markusar Wild of the Green Hand of the Old Faith.
You know, denial is a natural response. Must be hard to understand what you're looking at.
I apologise, but I am looking at a rather confused elf.
Correct, Markusar Wild was a dragonborn, but through magic I've been reincarnated as an elf.
What need would he have of reincarnation magic? And
I mean, if he dies is a start.
The nice facts.
Spitting straight fact. You gonna bring up the fact you killed me?
even so, there is not one amongst my flock who would cast such magic. Being risen from the dead is against the She. Once one is dead, they return to her hands.
I'm sure a lot of things are against the She. I'm sure the She would have a lot to say about sending your own child on a fruitless endeavour that gets him killed not once but twice.
Yes.
I have
Yes.
not sent
Oh.
my son anywhere. My son is at camp with his sister.
Oh,
Your
but
son.
you will. Oh, but you will. You will be driven by your own selfish, narcissistic need to follow what you believe is correct. That you will scapegoat your
I'm
own
going to
son.
put my arm around him. I'm going to put my arm around Wolfric as like, can I have a word with you? And I'm going to like pull him away.
Should I just say what I'm doing at this time?
Yes.
So Eidolon would have been roughly in the area as. I'm assuming this man is the main person healing some of these people.
Yeah, other than Shotha and her acolyte who are healing others.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably be in this area. I'll start with the one that he's healing because I already trusted those people, and I'll look over those injuries that these people might have.
So kind of looking over the two women. They do seem to be quite injured. None of them seem to be infected, though. It's strange. Markusar has healed primarily through magic. He's never done a lot of natural healing before. The salves and applications that this elf has applied to the two young women are actually quite familiar to you. As a lot of magical healing is obviously forbidden on Aramba.
Yes.
Magic of any unsanctioned sort is forbidden. So they have to resort to a lot of natural means. So therefore, injuries of any kind are usually produced through herbs and salves, which are grown on the wall. The way that a lot of these are used are very similar to Arambian techniques.
Well, I've already put together quite a few pieces because of what Markusar let split at a campfire about 2 months and a half ago. So, Eidolon is somewhat unsurprised.
But you
As
know
the
that at least they will be able to heal, as these are even treatments that have worked on some of your scars.
As all I'd do in that case extra is I'd just direct to the elf. Markusar could probably hear this, so it's probably not too worrying. Do you have any injuries?
None that I haven't already attended to.
Have any of them left scarring or discoloration?
Not but from bruising.
Bruising an atypical bruise or bruising as in...
Bruising as in swelling.
That's acceptable.
What is Markusar going to talk to Wolfric about?
Now, Wolfric, if this man is claiming to be who I think he is not the man that you know. He has not sent me on this quest yet.
Which
You cannot insult him for things he has not yet that have not yet come to pass.
To be perfectly honest, until he said that he hadn't sent his son yet, I fully thought that this was just that he'd just come back. I didn't know that it was I didn't know how far back he was from.
He is younger than I remember my father being, though he is an elf and they're kind of ageless, so I know it's hard to tell.
Yeah, so, but it was my probably I shouldn't have immediately jumped assuming that he was guilty of all the.
No.
This could be useful for you.
For me.
You can now directly ask the man what the fuck he said. What the fuck he, not him, but what the fuck he who will inevitably go back and be the one that will send you on your quest to go find the thing that he was looking for.
That was like so confusing, Wolfric.
Listen, I'm not very smart.
No.
Ask him about if he knows any more about what he was sending you to look for. Surely.
I don't know if he knows about that yet.
My only question is, will he be put back? And if so, will what we tell him fuck up the future?
Oh no, my head.
What do you mean by put back? Where did he come from?
Oh god, oh fuck, oh god, oh fuck.
Okay, so basically,
We fucked up.
do you know how Do you remember that table? Do you remember that time that Ranaagash had a dream vision and we got woke up because there was a table that was in the middle of the woods that wasn't there before?
I assumed you had made that in the night.
I have many skills, carpentry is not one of them.
No, yes, I remember.
It kind of applies the same way, but with your dad, where he was kind of pulled from the past. Have any of your memories been altered? Have you misremembered anything recently? Were things didn't happen the way you thought they happened?
Was it last night I had the dream?
It would have been last night, yeah, where you had the weird dream where, like, you were remembering your childhood, but then all of a sudden Ranaagash and Eidolon appeared and you were in Myrr, and it kind of was a wee bit weird and funky.
I had a very strange dream last night of a memory from my childhood, but it played out differently than I remember, and it sort of shifted into a strange alteration where Ranaagash was there and Eidolon were there, and we were in Myrr.
Okay, I think Ranaagash's vision has fucked with your memory. I think that he had a vision of that moment, and because he's not you, he didn't know what to do, and therefore has fucked with your memory.
I just can't catch a break.
Look, none of us can catch a break. You know that monster that fucking knocked me unconscious?
Yes, I saw.
His name was Raffen. We grew up together.
Sorry to hear that.
And I would say he's Ash, but he's not even that.
I pat Wolfric on the shoulder.
But we'll deal with your thing first, because your dad's kind of alive.
Yes.
Again. I'm sorry. This has become a family. This has retroactively become a family tradition. We're gonna walk around the corner, and your sister's gonna appear.
Oh dear God, I hope not. That word I shall not utter in this forest. So, my dad has been pulled out of time to here. How old was it? How old was I in this memory?
You would have been like maybe 10, 11, that sort of age. Early double digits.
Okay. Markusar is about 30, so it's like 20 years ago.
Pretty much, yeah. 2 decades.
Important question. How long ago? So he's like, how many years ago was this that he's been pulled from?
I'm glad you asked, Wolfric, because I was just thinking. So, this is about 20 years
ago.
Before he died.
Okay, so this question has opened into several more questions. Some would call it a hydra of questions. And in this question hydra, what are some things that would be recent memories for him, but are old memories for you, that he would absolutely, under no certain circumstances, confirm that you are you? Because right now, he just thinks you're a crazy elf that kind of looks like him. Do you have any old memories of when you were 10 years old that would confirm to him that you are his son?
Let me just think for a second. I'm trawling through my memories, and in my head I have a Word document called Markusar Backstory.
Be quiet. I'm going quiet, Watson. I'm going to my mind palace.
Does that mean you're Watson in this scenario, Ewan?
I'm Watson in this scenario.
I looked at my backstory, and I have a memory from when I had a past thing from when I was 15, and that's after. So that doesn't really work. I'm not good with just coming up with stuff on the fly. Is there anything in my backstory?
Is there a particularly good meal from when you were 10 years old? You remember? Was there a
It's always
Of course.
It's always
food?
Actually, no, food. It's food and smell is like it's one of the best memory sort of things. Like your olfactory sense, you can like smell something like baked good or whatever when you were a kid, and it just takes you right back. It's the best like memory tool.
See, Wolfric being a master chef, always comes in handy. Glad I chose that
Okay,
as
what-
his defining characteristic.
The thing is, like, I could just tell him stuff about Markusar, but he could just like, well, you just know Markusar, and you've taken his identity.
Yeah, you need
You
to
are
know.
clearly not a dragonborn.
You need
I'm
to
clearly
know.
not a dragonborn.
You need to know weirdly specific things about him.
I found your stash, Dad.
I mean, technically you did, because you have something on you.
Oh shit! I have his journal, don't I?
Yep.
That could either go great, or he just thinks you broke in.
Well,
Right.
if I'm a chancer at heart, so
You go with the journal. Push comes to shove. I can provide a backup distraction.
distraction.
I'm very distracting. Have you seen me?
Do you remember the building codes incident?
Oh, that went so well.
Okay, I rush off to my tent. Hopefully, it's not been destroyed in the battle, and try to locate my journal, my father's journal.
As for yourself, Markusar, you are able to find it, kind of leaving the camp for a little while to obviously go and collect it and bring it back.
Okay.
In the interim, obviously, Wolfric and Markusar are having this conversation. Does Ranaagash or Eidolon do anything? Or talk to anyone?
You want me to go first, Matthew, or?
Go first.
Yeah, I do have one more thing to say to this man.
Yes.
As I've had the same suspicions as Wolfric, that this isn't exactly the same time frame, and overhearing what he said kinda confirms that. But I do still have something that I would want to ask him. As more, I'd probably insist, and I don't know if he'd allow me to look at the mark he mentioned, just to make sure it's not infected.
He would be reluctant, as he would have to remove the wrappings, but you can kind of see that it is essentially, there is a few cuts on it, but it's essentially a bruise mark for where the mace just smacked him in the side, almost cracking a rib.
I'd more look at it and then just not give apologies, as I have nothing to apologize for, but more just provide the sentiment of, yeah, bruises can be misconstruing here. As sort of standing up, dusting off, putting the sword finally away. Tendrils are still there, but that can be looked past right now, I hope.
Cautiously looked past.
Cautiously. As Eidolon would more turn away, stop for a second, as he'd more turn away, start looking for Ranaagash, before swivel back and turn around. I've got a name, and I want to see if it's recognizable.
There are a few I know outside of Halden.
A Taurus.
It's a name I've not heard in a while, but yes, I recognise it.
Reuven. The Taurus.
Yes.
Perchance. Can I ask who that was to you?
He was my mentor and my master. He taught me magic, and he taught me how to heal the sick.
And of your beliefs?
Those two.
Interesting. That's all.
A strange thing to ask.
Strange man to know.
He was quite a private man.
Private, perhaps, to your people.
When he passed, I couldn't continue his practices anymore, so I broke away from my faith and from my home and founded my own home.
When he died, the world was spared a lunatic.
Perhaps for you, but where I come from, he did a lot of good.
Eidolon would turn around. The good he brought does not spare what he took with it.
The good he brought
Clearly,
kept me my daughter.
Eidolon's eyes slant for a second, before turning around and starting off, probably to where Ranaagash, if I can see Ranaagash.
Where would Ran be?
So, initial thoughts. Bartak, but then obviously he hears whatever order he gives out to Orcish and figures he needs to be alone with his family right now. Second thing, notices they're investigating
Velios.
Markusar's father. Oh god, fucks his way out of there real quick. So third port of call would be to see if the two helpful elders are doing alright.
As I would give one line of dialogue before I leave, just as I head towards Ranaagash, if that's okay, before you describe that.
Yes.
What he did, your daughter was not worth it.
Jesus Christ.
This man is most of the reason my family are dead. So I am sparing him no credence.
As for Ranaagash, before we jump back to Markusar returning his father's journal, you head over to the elders. Dalarash has been healed somewhat. She took quite a lot of blows in the battle and is quite injured. Shotha less so, but still not looking in the best of shapes, the two of them tending to one another. Dalarash kind of addressing you first as you come over. You look uncomfortable, Prophet.
Yes.
Why?
Turn, look over his shoulder in the general direction of Matt.
Markusar's
Everything.
dad.
Yes, that's there. Yeah, that's the one. You know, the big kahuna. Troubling visions as of late.
Here I thought you'd be relieved, at least for the time. Despite those we have lost, the forest is safe.
It is, yes. I have other things to deal with now.
Shotha kind of looks at you with a concerned expression. And how troubling have these visions been?
Well, the visions themselves, not so much. It's more the consequences, if you will. Things leaking into existence.
Well, I am sorry, but that is not something we can help you with.
No. Well, there's not much you can do for me now, is there? Exile and all that.
Yes. They will likely be in Sanctuary, but it won't be long before the other elders return. And I would advise, Ranaagash, that you and your friends are not here when they do so.
How long do we have?
They kind of look between each other, and Dalarash kind of stands up, wavering slightly. You would likely be safe if you rested on the outskirts of the forest. Stay close to camp just in case, but come the morn, you must be on your way to Kinreen.
Alright. Sort of. What time of day is it now? It's like late afternoon.
Kind of like mid to late afternoon.
Right. Okay. Have the rest of the evening basically to look in this place for the last time.
Be at home.
Alright.
She kind of sighs and more puts a hand on your shoulder, reaching up slightly as she is shorter than you. As Dalarash kind of doesn't give you a smile, but kind of gives you a weak nod. Myself and Shotha will do what we can for you. Many more would have died here if not for you and your friends.
You've done more than enough today, but I thank you regardless.
Your family is here. Even if you are only permitted to visit and not stay within the boundaries of the encampment, it means your father doesn't have to go without a son.
It's nice to still have a father.
Then perhaps before you go, you should make time to see him.
I will.
And perhaps ask him what I advised.
I will, thank you.
And she kind of gives you a nod and turns back, letting Shotha tend to a few more of her wounds, as that was quite a lot of energy for someone who's on 11 hit points.
Eat.
Understandable.
Have a nice short rest.
Can I offer you a short rest in this trying time?
Only one of us could cast catnap.
As Markusar, you
Yes.
return to your father with his journal. A journal that you have been treasuring for quite some time.
Yes. And there are several entries within this journal after this, what he perceives to be
Yes.
like his reality. I guess I could show him that, but then that's also like, here's your future. You know, it's kind of fucked.
Yeah, but that's also a good way to, potentially weasel
So-
in as abnormal things.
Yes.
I'd at least think.
Father, you do not believe me to be your son, but I'm not sure if you're aware you have been thrust out of your own reality and into a future one. I can prove it with this journal. This is your journal. And does he recognize it?
He does.
In this journal contains several entries years after what you believe to be now. Truth is, you died some 20 years from now, from your perspective, and left the Green Hand in my charge. And I did my best to do right by yourself and by she. And eventually it led to my death. But I was resurrected by one of my own flock. She has since passed by a great evil that... What phrase is? A great plague on this earth, who wishes to manipulate me and the Old Faith and the Green Hand to fit his own needs. In particular, with the Dream's Door.
What?
Oh, is Wolfric with me?
Well, yeah, he's kind of in the background. This is the first time Wolfric's heard all of this.
Oh, Wolfric, I'll catch you. I'll get you up to speed. Actually, speak to Idle. He knows all this.
Put it on me again.
I'm like leaning to Wolfric, saying it's okay. Like, there's nothing to worry about anymore.
You're not gonna open it anymore, right?
No, that's fucking. I'm gonna fucking kill Geirdre, okay?
Okay, I'm just making sure we were on the same page.
Yeah, same page. Geirdre bad.
You're bad.
Geirdre bad, very sad, very pathetic man, fist bump, and I'll head over to Eidolon.
But yes, this is this world. This is what has happened. I don't know what you coming here means, but that's, yeah.
He kind of takes a seat on one of the nearby logs.
He falls dramatically. Oh, let me catch my breath.
So you are telling the truth.
I would not lie to my father.
I would have liked to see you as yourself.
Me too. But to be truth, this isn't even the worst. This is literally the worst I've ever been. Because I did Wolfric already mention that I was brought back twice?
Yeah.
Yes. He
Yeah.
blurted that out pretty early.
Don't know if you got that, but after being resurrected, I was brought back a second time by a villainous elf called... Is he half elf actually?
Half elf.
Yeah.
He's not even a
villain-
full elf.
What a fucking bitch. Look at me, fucking me and Vilius we fist bumped. Not even a full elf, what a loser.
You're not even a full elf. You were
Shut
a
up.
dragonborn.
I have the body of an elf, but the soul of a dragonborn.
Oh.
Yes. Villainous half-elf called Geirdre. Former watchman from a ramp. He brought me back a second. I am not the son you once knew.
No, the son I once knew was a scared and frightened boy who didn't know his place in this world.
Yeah.
Changed.
He,
Well, I suppose reincarnation doesn't change everything.
he didn't know that he was my son. He didn't know that he was part of this world and part of the she. He felt out of
Drop the whole
place
she.
because he was different.
I'm special.
Very.
Drop the whole she-based revelation you had last session on him and see how he takes it.
I haven't, Dad. I've done a lot of soul searching these past months. I have endured horrors and ordeals that I wouldn't wish on any man or elf, and it has made me question certain things about myself, our faith, she, everything. And I feel like perhaps we have been too set in our ways. The world is changing, and it's perhaps time that we change too.
You have certainly grown up.
It wasn't easy losing you. I had to do a lot of growing very fast.
I did perhaps shelter you a little too much.
I've since travelled half the continent. I've met people and races I didn't know really existed. I met fellow Dragonborn. And yeah, I believe that our way, as righteous as we might think it is, needs some re-examining, and we should be more open to change.
Well, if I am truly dead,
I can show you your grave, if you don't believe it.
and I truly gifted the green hand to you, then those are your decisions to make.
But what does this mean for you? You are now here, and I don't think there's a way of returning you.
I do not know. That is not my kind of magic.
Yeah, I don't really understand it. I would suggest you return to Hilden, but I'm not sure how they would react to your return.
I also imagine the forest is not quite how I remember it if my death was to come 20 decades from where I stand. Or, yeah, 2 decades, not 20 decades.
20 decades? 200 years? You old bastard.
Markusar would be dead if that was the case.
Azkaban!
I did my waiting.
But
Need to watch Harry Potter again.
I must
Right.
ask. You mentioned the Dream's Door. It is something my old mentor used to talk about, and I never remember telling you about it.
You told me it on your deathbed. I have tried to seek it out, but in my search I've discovered it to be... it would bring ruin upon this world.
That is not how Theotaurus always described it.
Things aren't always as they seem.
He described it as something that would bring ruin, but he also described it as something that would help, if it were opened by the right person.
It is my belief that it is within the control of this Gairdra, who seeks to destroy all that is good in this world. And if that is what it is capable of, then it should not be used at all, or even destroyed. Just because something has something that is all good cannot be all powerful. Something that is all powerful cannot be all good. And if that's the case, then it should not exist at all.
But someone with the right heart can use something for good.
But what about when I'm gone? It may fall into the wrong hands. It cannot be trusted. I cannot be trusted.
If I told you about it on my deathbed, it means I trusted you.
That means a lot. Still. It is... I don't know if I'd have the strength to use it in the way that you hope. Especially as I am in some weird bond with this Gairdra. He could... I don't know the limits of his power. He could control me and use it for his own will.
don't
I've seen
know.
him control other.
I don't know this magic, but I know that when I found you, you were the last survivor in ruins and wreckage on the edge of Halden. As nothing but a babe, you should have died, but you did not. She protected you.
And yet I've died twice.
Perhaps that is because you were questioning the wrong things. When you grew up, you questioned everything. You asked about everything. I took you into my home and never once did you accept anything I told you. You learned. You questioned. And you found your own way in the Green Hand. Now it would seem you have to find your own way in life. When my mentor spoke of the Dream's Door, he spoke of its abilities. And he spoke of the possibilities of it being opened by the right person.
I hear what you're saying. But maybe I'm just a lucky dragonborn. Maybe we don't all have some great purpose. Maybe we're all just, things on this earth.
I would have perhaps assumed that once too. Though, I don't know if you will recall. For me it is a recent memory. When you used to run to the Standing Stones, and you would hide away from your sister, and you would go and talk to the woods. And you would talk to a beast, made of flowers and fauna. It never spoke to you, but I would see it appear to you. I have never seen a creature appear like that before, to anyone.
Not the chosen one, not the chosen one, not the chosen one. That creature has appeared to me since then. And it was the she, and she told me that I need to change how I see the world. I know you think I'm special. Every father thinks that of their son. And I thought I was for the longest time. But now I just feel like I'm like everyone. We're all creatures of she. We all have a role to play. Mine is to lead the Green Hand. I'm not here to bring about a regenesis. My main goal right now is to defeat Geardrop and all evil that follows in his wake.
Then I can only wish you luck. But my belief will not fade.
So what will you do now that you are here?
I will stay and tend to these people.
Once this tribe are healed and they do not seek your assistance, where will you go? What will you seek?
I do not know. I will go where
What
she
else?
takes me.
I wish you the greatest of lucks for your journeys. And perhaps we'll see each other again sometime.
In this life or the next.
I go in for a hug.
He gives awkward hug.
Classic dad.
Well, he's
Crack
still
no
no.
dad jokes.
No, son.
not like fully sure, you know? You've just told him that he dies in 20 years, that you've been dead twice and reincarnated.
He dies in 20 years. Is that he died, and this is a different him. So like he has. It's not like he's going to die in 20 years. It's like I don't know. He has a second chance at life.
You're out of time.
You're a man out of time.
As Eidolon, you go and speak
We
to
gotta-
Ranaagash.
We gotta go back.
I mean, I'm less
To the
speaking with
future.
Ranaagash. I was more checking if Ranaagash is okay.
I think he's still kind of oh-godding, oh-fucking. At least mentally.
I'd go up and I don't know if he would really perceive me approaching.
Just sort of turn and just give you like a curt nod.
Just wanted to check in. How you doing?
Been better.
I'm sorry, much like you right now, I'm not too articulate with words. Are your friends, family, okay?
For the most part, I believe so, but only time will tell.
Do you have any to check on?
My father, Chief, anyone else I want to see one more time?
Well, if you need any of us, it's not too difficult to find us in this camp full of orcs.
Mm-hmm.
As Edmore just put a hand on your shoulder, I'll let you get to it.
Word of warning, we'd best be out of here by sunrise.
And we can get moving the second you're sure that everybody you need to talk to is, well, there.
Alright.
I just gotta check on Wolfric myself.
Alright.
As the two of you split off, Ranaagash, where are you heading first?
Let's start with my dad. This is the big one, probably.
Let's go and start with good old Dad. As Ranaagash splits off and heads towards his dad's tent, or the kind of southern tent, Eidolon, we'll do you and Wolfric first. Have a small gander between the two of you, and we'll probably end tonight with Ranaagash and his father, as you and Wolfric meet up. Almost in the middle, actually, as he seems to be coming to find you.
Well, this works. Is everything alright, Wolfric?
Why does Gairdra know about the dream store?
As Eidolon would more stop for a second, his eyes wander slightly back to where Markusar is currently probably chatting to his dad.
Yeah.
For sighing, put his head in his hands. I can't say I know for certain, if I'm being honest. But, sorry, Ewan, you look...
What does he want with it?
Alright, I'm going to be pretty blunt and simple. The Dreams Door is likely a thing known as the Fissure, which is where the Blight comes from. And can I confide something in you real quick, Wolfric? I'll likely tell Markusar soon anyway.
Yes.
That man, as I'd more point towards Markusar's father, his mentor was a man named Reuven Theotaurus, who was a watchman on the wall as it was falling, about 300 years ago. He was exiled about a decade afterwards, because he had the asinine belief that the Blight should be let across the entirety of the world.
And let me guess. Our little friend found his research.
He founded the Old Faith. If I'm putting my dots together correctly.
How was Reuven described? Not physically, personality.
By who?
Anyone.
He was kind enough. He was one of the original people who tended to the wounds of those who fell. But the more he fell into his own research, he lost sense.
Cold.
The people he'd called
Calculating.
friends.
Cold, calculating, willing to cut a bargain if it meant he got what he wanted.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but you must remember I wasn't alive then.
Yes, but he might still be.
I'd hope not, but
I think Reuven is the wolf.
I wasn't alive to know for certain, but... Well, I can't say yes or no.
How better for a man so obsessed with the infection to continue living as practically the embodiment of it.
All I can say for certain is that if, as I'd more point back at Evelios, if what he knows is from what Reuven had told him, almost everything he knows is a lie. Or perhaps not a lie, more or less twisted.
Naturally. I would expect nothing less from a man of his caliber.
It's a
Is,
personal belief of mine. But from everything I've read, if Reuven had not betrayed the wall and stolen half of our research, we would probably have been able to beat this thing 300 years ago. So if you'd like a reason why our lives are currently on the brink of failure, you have a name.
Reuven. Interesting. He was interesting. The more I think about it, the more that my brain is lending towards the idea that Reuven is the wolf. I'm perfectly happy to be proven wrong and hope that Reuven is rotting wherever he is. It's very
One
likely.
slight solace is that something with at least the description of the wolf did exist during the original opening of the fissure. But the Blight also has the ability to assimilate things, so who's to say that the wolf and Reuven once might have been separate entities, but are now
The same one. It's very likely.
a hive mind.
Uh,
It's just this might be more individual.
Two personalities melded into a single brain.
They think the same.
Very easy to... No, but that raises the question. That doesn't raise the question of whether or not the wolf and him are one and the same. It raises the question of who assimilated who.
I can at least answer that. The wolf would have been the only one with the ability to. It's just if it's working, quote unquote, he'll have been willing to. Or willing to be.
This is concerning.
But just to answer your original question, I can't say for certain, but the Fisher is likely this dream store that Markusar's been after since the very beginning.
Great big hole in the ground where the world's pus has emerged.
I wish it was the ground. It simply appeared in the sky, in the ground, in between, all at once. It's literally leaking out of nothing.
One of the first laws in physics is that energy doesn't come from nowhere.
There will be something on the other side. No one has ever gotten close enough, though.
I reckon with Ranaagash's abilities, Markusar's abilities, and our combined tactical prowess, we can probably just purge it from a distance. We'd need more power, though. The important thing is that whatever the fuck the wolf is, whether it's Reuven, an entity, but the important thing is we put it down. But that ultimately led me to Reuven was an intelligent, calculating man from what you've described, an incredibly smart man. Misguided and arrogant, but smart. If this wolf entity existed at the time, the question is not, did they make a pact? Did they fuse? The question is, who assimilated who?
Well, nothing we can know right now.
Nothing can ever be fucking simple, can it?
Listen, it's dangerous, but I can always try to, I don't know, get into his office.
Anything you can try.
And why do you look disturbed?
I mean, you're already in our bad books. Do you want to get in there even more?
Ah! I can just ask her! But that implies we're going anywhere near there. More importantly, Wolfric, I did want to ask you something.
Yes.
Very simple. I saw what was going on before I headed into the tent. Who was it you were fighting?
His name was Raffen Gabler. We grew up together in Hothzal. Childhood friends. He was good-humoured. He wasn't suited for violence, but he must have taken it up as a way to find me when I died.
It was back in Tenon, but wasn't someone looking for you?
That would have been him. We were quite the pair. I was the muscle, he was the brains. Speak 4 languages. Reading 6 or 7 of them. He was on the fast track to become an incredible scholar.
I truly am sorry for your loss.
Gerdra only took his body, and death he never took his mind. That's the only solace I get out of this.
Repeat that, what?
Gerdra took control of his body, but when the flame strike killed him, Gerdra's influence was purged, and Raffen was in control as he died.
Ah, alright. Well, that's horrible.
I hope.
That's not something that the Blight can do.
Apparently it can now. Gerdra's doing something to it. Poking and prodding.
He tried something similar in the Citadel. It was a man, Elenus, I chased him down. But he was being possessed by Gerdra, but his body had already essentially perished. What you're describing is he had motor control over someone who was
Still alive. If he can put these buds into people, these little instances of the Blight, then he can take control of people. And who says which has the possibility of being... I have a theory about that.
Please.
Is that if we can somehow force him into attempting to take control of several people at once, we could just kill him outright. Because my idea is, if he's in control of so many bodies at once, all of that information going straight to his brain is gonna fucking scramble him like an egg.
You can think of how to do that. I'm all ears, but he's dim, but he's not stupid.
The thing is, he isn't dim, you're right, but he's arrogant. And you can be as smart as you want, arrogance will drag you right back down. If we just appeal to his sense of self-wanking grandeur,
That's interesting.
then we can trick him into doing whatever the fuck we need him to do. You see, he's no different from a bureaucrat. I've worked with bureaucrats before. The only difference is, I'm not getting paid. I'm getting the sweet, sweet relief of taking his head off his shoulders.
Are you wanting that honor now?
No, it's still yours. I just like to think about it.
I can pass it to you when I'm done with it.
I don't like to play with corpses, I'm not him.
Oh no, I was more thinking a trophy case, but when it's deserved, it's deserved.
He'll die as he lived. A disgusting little gutter snipe.
You sure you're alright though? After Harafen.
It hurts to see him go. I mean, we've got to stop in at Holzall now. I mean, we've got the wedding, but I've also got to tell his mum what's happened. I'll need to bring her flowers. And maybe a nice bottle of rosé.
Not half bad.
Yeah. She's
Sorry,
like
just
to me.
a lot
So
to think
I
about.
tell them all. Absolutely. We've all got a lot to think about. Ranaagash must be going through hell right now.
Speaking of Ranaagash, do you want to go through some hell, Matthew?
Smooth segue.
Oh, really? No.
I have done it. I have set up the perfect smash cut.
He did it. He said it.
Swipe to the left. Ran, you go to the southern side of camp. Your dad is not in his tent. He is out and about. He is helping quite a lot of injured from several of the other tents, as well as helping move some of the dead. Your dad is obviously more of an intelligible fellow, but he is still an orc at the end of the day and is still very muscular, so therefore can help move people around, or corpses around. However, once you start coming around the corner and coming towards the camp, he kind of sets one of the injured aside, almost making sure they are comfortable before coming over and giving you a hug, more picking you off of the ground. Thank the she you're alive.
Do the same to you.
I know your magic is strong and I know you are capable, but I still worry about you. You're not too injured,
Thank
are you?
No, I'm fine. Rest, but forgiven.
I imagine the elders will not have given you much time to rest.
No, I have to. I've been advised I should be out of here by sunrise. So I have sort of looks up to the sky the rest of the day to tie up loose ends for now anyways.
Well, if you want anything from your home, if you want anything from your room, you are welcome to take it.
The others did give me one piece of advice though. They said to ask about my mother. And they didn't specify what anything. But I trust you know what they're referring to.
He kind of takes a step back from you and you see him rub his temples. Those hags can't leave well enough alone. Yes, I know what the elders want you to know. As he kind of looks around the camp. Come inside. It's better if we sit down and perhaps have tea. As he kind of, I guess, goes over to the flaps of your tent, your home, opens them up and lets you kind of walk in. where he kind of potters around, finds an old iron kettle that your mum had brought from Kinreen, which your dad is now very obsessed with, and starts making tea.
Adorable.
Before I tell you anything, it is best you know how your mother and I met. I was a young trader, and it was my first time in Kinreen. Now, we were not as friendly with the locals back then, and there wasn't as many of he kind of gestures at you, your kind, in the encampment. You could say your mother and I started a trend. I was young and foolish, and she was hot-headed and feisty. I didn't take much to Orcish women, and I loved her from the moment I saw her. She wouldn't return the affections, however. She would avoid me. She would disappear whenever I came to town. I would see her in brief flashes. If I did catch her in conversation, it was never for long. And I will be honest, I pursued her. I could think of no one else. And there was one day I, perhaps much to her father's disdain, caught her alone, where she could not run from me. It was in her garden. And I asked her why she was running from me. And she told me it was not because she did not like me. In fact, it was quite the opposite. The feelings I felt for her, she too felt for me. But there, in her garden, she confided that she did not want to pursue me because she did not want to have a family. She confided me in her magical abilities, her prophetic abilities. The fact that it had been passed down through generations without failure, and she feared of passing such a curse on to her own children. Now, I will say this. You have always been a blessing to us, Ranaagash. But when I first met your mother, the two of us promised we would never have a child. That it would be the two of us forever, and she could die with her curse. It was like that for about a decade, where she then approached me wanting a child. I reminded her of the promise I made, but she did not care. She wanted a family. She was happy, she was settled. She had control over her magic, she told me for the first time in years. And because it was what she wanted, and I would be lying if I said I wouldn't want a family of my own, we had a child, and we had you. And she thanked every god under the sun that she had a son. She thought you would be safe, as her curse was only passed to daughters. And then you started having visions, and things changed. But that is how everything began. Your mother was not like you. At least, you said your visions have been getting worse. Perhaps you are now more like her. When I first met her, she told me she had the ability to jump into people's dreams, to see their memories, to alter their reality, and occasionally take control of their form. If she had a vision of the present and she assumed the body and mind of that person, she could control them in the present. She didn't want that for you. So as you grew, she worked hard to control her visions. She had something to focus her mind. She had something she wanted, something she was passionate about. And she was able to control her abilities, control her magic, until the elders found out about your magic. We told you the reason your mother moved from the forest was because she did not like the elders' decision. She did not want to stay here and watch you suffer. Now, yes, that was also the case, but your mother was also exiled by the elders. The day they found out about your visions, and the day they found out that you were to fall under their tutelage, where your mother knew your visions would be used, and you would likely end up like her, but you wouldn't have the happiness she had in order to control and stop them. when you were sent from the tent that day, we remained. She, as your mother always does, was stubborn enough to shout at the elders to take her place and show them their place. And then she fell into a vision. I have dealt with very few since I married her, but this one was worse. In her vision, she took control of Vinzak and accelerated her aging process. I don't know what she saw that day, she refuses to tell me, but whatever she did, it altered the elder. So your mother left. It was the first time she was unable to control one of her visions. When her emotions became negative. When she could no longer control herself. She could no longer control them. It was something she never wanted you to really know. But I guess if the elders were asking me to tell you, they would have reason to.
Right. A lot to think about.
I will ask you once, how have your visions been getting worse?
By leaking into the real world, shall we call it, and staying.
If only your mother was here, perhaps she would be able to give you some better advice.
If only.
I don't know exactly what Dalarash and the others were hoping I would tell you. I only know what happened. It may be of use that you now know what happened, and how your mother was, and how powerful she was. Something you would have never known, because when we had you, when she made the decision that she wanted you, after saying she would never have a child, it was because she found what she truly wanted. She found what made her happy. She didn't care that she was different. She didn't care about her visions or her powers or her magic. She just cared about me. And in turn, she cared about you. It stopped becoming everything she was. It stopped becoming everything that was important in her life, and it just became a part of her. And I think that day, she got so angry because she learned that it would become everything you were. And there is a part of me that wishes upon that day that I listened to her. And that we took you from this forest and moved far from here. That I damned my culture and my heritage and did what was truly right for you, not what the elders thought was right for you.
I don't blame you. These things are never easy.
Yes, but you are my son. Above all else, you should have come first. And I am sorry that you did not.
Thank you. Right. I suppose I should see the rest of the camp before I leave.
When you pass back through Kinreen, give your regards to Mum. Give my regards to your mother.
I will.
As he kind of, I guess like Markusar went in for awkward dad hug, he kind of goes in instead for awkward son hug.
I'll take it. I shall return.
Why does he get the good hug and I don't?
Your dad seemingly is bad dad. This is good dad.
Well,
No.
that and Markusar's dad, you did tell him that, you know, you died twice and he was going to die in 20 years and
I
everything
didn't say he was
going to
die.
He didn't say that.
Well, yeah, like from
I
his
said that
point.
my dad died, but like, my version of him died, and it's the whole thing.
It's a whole thing. It was, yeah, he kind of gets up, sets tea down, awkward hug, and kind of leads you out the tent kind of waiting by the flap to almost escort you back into the center point of the camp, where you part ways with your father. Where, going into next time, you guys will be leaving Myrr, moving back through the roads, passing through Kinreen, and seeing what's gone on there. Hey, Eidolon. Before making the next decision on where to go on your journey. Dun dun dun. But for tonight, with combat ended, my brain fried, and both dads having a talking to, we will end our session for tonight. Where,
That was a lot.
before I say goodbye, you guys level up. So make sure that's done for Monday.
Yo,
Hey,
ASI
yes,
for
thanks.
everybody. I know what I'm taking.
That's good. Just make sure it's done for Monday. As
Hey, you have to update something.
hush. As yes. For now, it is goodbye from me, and one of my boys has disappeared as it's goodbye from them.
Goodbye.